Oh, dude. Yeah, you're saying. Continue.
No, but yeah, like now that they've set up the conditioning almost in terms of tempo, right? Where they can use the same utility to start it off, but the way they can do it is spread themselves apart with traps all across the board. Because as soon as you take A main or you take B main from velocity and then cut noise, they are the kind of team that is going to want to go back and check, especially because they don't have that initiator to get the info. So it's all about baiting velocity almost into those aggressive moves because I think velocity now starting to get us accustomed to this pace of style. Just the idea that Revenant can keep going for these executes.
Hmm. Well, I think Revenant should take just a little bit of time to fix their technical issues. Wait, I have a question. When you coached VLT, did you coach the roster which DM was under?
Yeah, Dim's been there for like 2 years now.
So, okay, so I have a question to ask you. So, we all know that DM kind of keeps changing his sensitivity and sometimes his crosshair in the middle of games as well, right? Have you ever asked him why?
I, it's not just DM. Like, there's a lot of top players. I'm not gonna name them now because I'm not sure if they want people to know, but it's very common, honestly, and it's something that I personally can never understand. But it's an instinct thing, and as
Okay.
players, right? And I'll use an example of a player who I think doesn't mind at all. There's this player called Venka, who I most recently
Oh,
coached, and
Venka. Wait,
yeah,
wasn't
so
he playing
he
for
changes.
who was he playing
Hello,
for?
what's
I
up,
remember
bro?
Venka in the
Chill.
most recent tournament. Yeah, yeah, that's why I
Thank you
remember
for
him.
the permission, bro.
Yeah, so I think it's about the feel that they get in the game. And some days they just want a slight change. It's also placebo to a large extent because they don't actually change it to such a big thing where it's completely different. They change it by like micro margins. Maybe from a 0.45 they'll make it a 0.43. And it doesn't really make a
Okay.
huge difference. It's just the idea that sometimes in your deathmatch your shots are in landing, you change it by like 0.01 and your next shot maybe lands, you're like, okay, this is my sensitivity for the day. And I think it's mostly placebo and partially just instinct of the feel of the game overall.
I think Valorant has given us the golden opportunity to test out which players in our game have placebo and not, and it can all just be said by their views and their opinions on skins,
Uh,
dude. Like some of the things I've heard are the funniest stuff.
yeah.
Like, wait, are you a believer in that or not? Like, do you think are you a guy on the boat that, hey, if I have this skin, I will frag. If I have this skin, I won't. And sometimes people even use that as a legitimate excuse.
Well, I'm not because I've never bought a skin across these last
Really?
few years. Yeah, I
Oh,
still play on
damn.
the defaults. I'm the antidote guy. Anti loves the default skins as well.
Yeah, I know. It's a
Yeah,
weird
so
choice, but I guess some people have their own thrills, don't they?
yeah, I don't think placebo is a bad thing necessarily. It's very similar to like a player having a routine, right? So for the player to get himself into that right mindset, right mood, it's there in traditional sports too, where cricket players might have a very specific bat that they need to really score out of the way. And similarly, football players have very specific boots or very specific socks, or then socks need to be at very specific points on their feet or
आता बघ
something like
येतोय का?
that. It's all about how it makes you feel. And in sports in general, may that be traditional sports or esports, these are athletes and they're
Yeah.
allowed to have these small things that just help them feel a tad more comfortable.
I mean, I completely get that, dude. Like, especially given the fact that today I got something like this, right? It kind of makes me feel
What
stupid for
the
even
bro?
asking that question. So, yeah, it makes complete sense in that way. And hey, especially with this matchup, I feel like placebo,
मैच चालू
again,
कर
it
भाई.
could be that double-edged sword, right? I love the analogy that you brought up with conventional sports, especially when you take a look at people's warm up routine. Because you see players who have that rigorous warm up routine where they wake up, they quickly have a bath, have something to eat, 1 hours of aim lab, maybe an hour in the range plus
Oh,
death match or something along that lines. Only then, after a couple of pugs, will they even try an official game. But there are still people who manage to just wake up,
ठीक
have like
ठीक.
5 minutes in the ring, and they're like, bam, I'm ready for a professional game. I've seen both throughout my history watching casting and learning from tactical FPS. So
cannot do the execute if they don't have every single one of them.
In your mind, it's
I mean, definitely, right? Because I recently read something about two legendary NBA players, which surprised the heck out of me. Where on one hand,
yeah.
you've got the likes of
Right.
LeBron James, who is almost a health freak. He's very careful about his diet, only has certain foods to eat before matches so he can
Oh,
be on
okay.
high energy setups. On the other hand, you've got the legend himself and Michael
Jack.
Jordan,
Right.
who,
Oh,
for
okay.
his starting of his career, would only eat McDonald's. He'd have a nice quarter pounder and really set himself up. It is the exact opposite of LeBron James, right? And while biologically, sure, I'm sure there's a lot of things that can be argued. My setup is more about the conditioning aspect and in terms of the psychology and how a player is feeling. For Michael Jordan, of course, that comfort there in what he's likely had his entire life. LeBron James instead more focused on what actually gives him the energy. But both legends in their own right.
One thing I love about sports is how they carry forward the personalities and decorated individuals of the game past their retirement and past their
Yeah.
years of performance. Like how you mentioned, right? There's
लाईट
so many
गेल्यावर जे येतं
stories that,
ते
like for example, I
परत
still remember
गेम मध्ये
seeing this one interview between, I think it was Kobe and Shaq. They were discussing how many rings Kobe would have had if Shaq would have had the same work ethic, and and Kobe was straight up like, I'd have had like close to 15 rings, maybe, I don't know.
हा
But
Yeah.
बॉस
it's
ठीक आहे
all about how you draw the reference from the past to the present, right? And that just gets me wondering as to how, players that we decorate in our minds, people like Right Aways, people like Amaterasu, people like SK Rossi, Deathmaker, as to how their conversation in esports will
काय
be in the next
बोललं
5 years. Because you think about this 5 years from the past, right? SK Rossi was just getting into CS. Jetmaker was getting
तो
discovered, and
इंटर्नशिप करतोय का
if I'm
तिथे
not mistaken,
मला
him and
लाच बोलला
Antidote had a roster. You look at player like Right to Ace. I think he was what in the Philippines, representing us in, I think, execration. So they were in different positions. Some already decorated, and then further down making their legacy. Some just starting off their careers. And now we look at players like, One Tap God. Now we look at teams like Revenant Esports and Reckoning Esports. So you just got to wonder which of these players from these rosters are going to go down the, Hall of Fame a couple of years down the line.
Oh, definitely. And it's a very different setup, right? Where on one hand, like you said, you've got the wealth of experience that the likes of Amaterasu right to Ace are able to bring from the different squads that even DM, LF, and Excali. What is absolutely crucial, I think, on the other side is the resurgence of these youngsters. Where Paradox, he's not here, of course, but he watched all of these big players that you mentioned as he was trying to make his mark. And in Valorant, I feel is where
येतो
he
रे लाईट
truly lived
लवकर
up to his peak. And now he's in Brazil representing the entire nation. And then you've got the likes of Wimp and Blackhawk, who throughout the Valorant scene were recognized as great players but never actually got a chance to really make their stamp, to really make their mark. And but now with this new roster for Revenant, they are able to shine and really set themselves apart. So it's not just about how you as individuals will be remembered in the future. It's about what legacies you create with your team as well, what dynasties you're able to set up with the kind of form you're able to show up in this big scene. And in that regard, definitely, I
चिकू
think,
भाई
at least
किधर
in this
क्या
matchup,
करता
the
रे बाबा
dynasty is on the side of Velocity. They are the one with a rich, rich history, but history might just be what they are because Revenant, they are the young guns just looking to take them apart.
Yeah, and again, they're the young guns, right? I feel like, especially with esports in general, not only playing, this entire industry revolves around social intelligence. Nobody finds success in
Ooh.
esports if you're not socially intelligent, and that includes casters, that includes players, that includes everybody in esports, and it implies it in different means. So when we're talking about players, right, you could be the best player in India without a doubt, but it'll still take time for you to win a trophy. It'll still take time for you to get on your path to get into that
आली
international
लाईट
roster.
ठीक
And the entire way you navigate around it is what's very
असा एकटा
important.
बॉस
Of
फाईट
course, things
करायला
like this, they
थोडंसं हे
take time,
होतं
right? And they take time for a reason. It's because the things that truly last
हलकासा
take time to build up, and the things that
डर
truly
लागतोय
last
रे बाबा
require quality. So especially with the growth of some
वाटेल
of
नाही
these
सोबत काय
individuals,
वाटत
right?
नाही
Because I've seen them from since I played pugs with them, and I was just chilling back when I was like 15 or 16. So watching most of these individuals grow across the scene in different ways, looking at a player like Antidote, who back in the day he was known for his explosive sniper rifle action that he used to bring to Counter Strike, now becoming kind of like the spokesperson of professional Valorant in India. I think a good analogy of Antidote would be how Ankit Pant was in CS:GO. Antidote is kind of the same in Valorant, with him still competing at the top. So he still has a lot of talent left within him without a doubt, and I just hope that he's a player we get to see continue on that road for another year, another 2 years. I've not even talked to that guy in such a long time, so I hope that he is a player that I might get to do an interview after
क्या बात कर रहा
this
है?
event does get over.
Oh, absolutely. Antelope, of course, a legend in his own right. The way he's reinvented himself across this entire game, where he was, of course, a legendary opper at the very beginning, carrying on from his past experiences. But since then, he's really embraced the experience. He's had the seniority that he carries across the entire scene and become one of the very few IGLs we have in this scene. An IGL for many a player to look up to and a leader in his own right. So I personally love players who are just able to really embrace their growth as not just as players but as human beings in their personalities and use that growth to really affect their game to a large extent, therefore becoming better overall. And it's amazing to see it happen.
I think another player, again, we talk about this player quite a bit, but that's only because we know this player to some extent, at least in terms of stats, right?
चालू
Is
होगा
SK
मैच
Rossi, because
भाई.
the kind of heartbreaking defeats that this individual had back in his Counter Strike days was a little too much for me to even handle. Because I used to see him from the back end after the matches used to get over, and it wasn't a good sight, right? Again, when you're so passionate behind something, having that snatched away, it's double the pain that you're going to get to witness.
Yeah.
So having that kind of skill, having that kind of ability where everybody else in India, even the top team themselves, think that you are one of the best and you could be potentially goated, now translating that into a successful Valorant career and successful beyond any metric possible, right? I think he's broken the kind of um, stardom that any player from South Asia, at least from a PC background,
Yeah.
has achieved in recent memory.
Mm-hmm.
सेब भाई क्या
Hey,
हंसते हैं
definitely,
भाई.
right. SK Rossi definitely has become that poster child almost for the SA region, and rightfully so. He's been a one of a kind player for sure. But hey, I'm sure you're wondering when is the match going to start. So we have some good news for you. The Revenant power in their boot camp has come back. So it should just be a matter of minutes before they're back in their PCs, back in the lobbies,
Eat,
and we
eat.
should be able to head right back to the match.
With the match being so dead even from the get-go, and with Revenant being such a
क्या हम लोग
threat,
जनरेटर नहीं है क्या
especially
RNT
early
के?
on, the one thing that I hope is this small but momentary pause does not provide a lapse in their offense. The aggression was something that I truly loved, and I think that's something that, again, you didn't expect as well, right? That's a
Yeah.
delightful surprise that, you know, that's what signed me up for today. I got a good amount of sleep because I want to see a good amount of nice Valorant action, dude. And I'd be a little sad if we're denied that on this occasion.
100%. And I think, given the way this started, we're all set in for that blockbuster matches all the way through. I'd be very surprised if we don't get all three maps, but hey, anything can happen. Any team might just run away with it because what we have seen in the Penta Pro series so far is usually in these close matchups, it's that starting phase, that very first half, that is really, really close. But as one team starts to edge out the other, as they start to read into what the other team wants to do, that's when they start to slip away. So I think for both of these teams, it's about building up to that mark, building up to understanding what the coaching staff on either side has prepped their relative
OG the
opposition, and then to
lowers
be able to
chicken.
punish them for their exact strengths.
Hmm. Yeah,
और
we should
इसको
have the
क्या
match
नाम
going
था?
in about any minute now. You know, if you are in the side of VLT, right? The one thing that I always have in the back of my mind when I root for this team is it's at moments like these in the tournament where you usually see the VLT upset. And again, not being a hater or anything, is just statistical with the way their past events, at least the bigger ones, have been, right? The
Testicle
crippling
bola.
defeats in those upper brackets where you simply do not see them coming. And
Mhm.
from a person who knows them that well, do you think that it's something that's there in the back of their mind as well?
Definitely, right? It's also the idea that they haven't really got time to practice with this particular
अच्छा चालू
lineup
करो
as much. So,
भाई.
just like Paradox is in Brazil, so is Deadly 10 the most, well, not the most recent acquisition, but the second most recent
अतर वो
acquisition
डेडली
for
10 में था ना
Velocity.
खेल
And
रहे थे.
that's a player that they've been practicing with for quite a while, and a player who is really the tip of their spear. So to lose him, I'm sure, does affect their planning, their practice to a large extent, and it will be playing in the back of their mind. Hey, how do we make do? How do we adapt? They do have the saving grace in the fact that the player they brought back to replace him is someone they know very well. MW1 coming into the
Exactly.
picture, he's already had a great map popping off on his Reina. So I think
आज रात
for
रे
Velocity,
MW1 का होगा
they're
तो था.
focused very much on
Wings
this
बर्बर
map. And
खेल
for
रहा था.
Revenant now, they have to find a way to shut that player down, because I've seen MW1 when he starts to get confident, man. He becomes unstoppable. And there's a reason he's considered one of the top talents in the industry, despite being missing for a large part of it. Is because he has that sheer
Exactly, man.
ability within him to just pop the heck off.
Dude, MW1 I think has been the biggest outlier of the South Asian Valorant scene, because with the way his career has been, it kind of defies logic, right? If he's that good, how isn't he there in the longer term? But then you realize that there are personal decisions involved as well.
आज चालू झाली.
MW1 now having the
Squad दे.
chance to make his team get an early ticket to the finale stage, and he's putting on a very good show on the road building up to that. And we're back on the show, ladies and gentlemen. We're back on the road. Revenant just a step behind VLT, but the close peek from one tap god with the frenzy almost netted him the early kill. MW1 survives just on 8 HP, but an MW1 that's alive is an MW1 that can very well make you dead. And hey,
Oh,
he's just putting them to bed. Revenant
Yeah.
Esports have only found a single pick in a round like this. VLT are going to be pretty happy with the way they dealt with the likes of Revenant, although it's pretty much going to be an effort from Revenant to warm back up into the action, warm back up and get back into their zone and mojo. But an abrupt pause in such an intense game like this undoubtedly would have affected their mental.
MW1 by top.
talking about mental though. MW1 right now 11 and 5. Top fragger on the board, and I have to say they cannot let him pop the heck off, because not only will it affect this map right here, going into Icebox, I'd be very surprised if he doesn't pick up that Reina once again. So it's all down to Revenant now to shut it down, and with the Nightfall, they're trying to make their way back into the site that has worked for them the most. The
Nice.
B-side hit coming through, but the whole through for Amaterasu and Excali. They play in the site, in the front, and they challenge Revenant with their absolute might. Completely denied Revenant now with nowhere to go, and now the flank coming through as well. They're stuck just like fish in a barrel, getting shot piece by piece and taken down.
TMI operator though.
Let me go with that operator, Aramis. Although Amaterasu does manage to find the head of Blackhawk. They're just playing off each other so brilliantly there. You can see the utility dump from Revenant, right? They dispose of the Nightfall, the commitment from one tap god. And VLT exercising that crossfire, exercising utility and experience at the same time to not panic in a situation like that. Allows them to just isolate the backlines from the front lines, pick off each member individually, and make it look like a piece of cake.
I think to a large extent, it's also VLT recognizing the fact that Revenant used their Prowlers early to clear off the main. So on the back of that Nightfall, it wasn't two Prowlers coming through. And without those Prowlers, that Nightfall really just takes away the audio. So they're able to play on the side, that minute adaptation in the minute helping them out. And already though, Revenant trying to rinse and repeat on their eco. They picked up one. Excali taken out, leaving Amaterasu with an impossible task. But the backup is coming through. LF clears one, and Amaterasu able to reposition back to these forward angles to play on site. He shuts down one, and through the flash finds another.
Good stuff from Amaterasu so far, although
Oh.
Josh making things a little more doable if Wimp wants to go berserk. Has himself the Sheriff, and has himself the opportunity, a clutch. Amaterasu though holds on to this round, which was swaying the other way. VLT continuing their streak of victories on this defense as they're building up not only a good bit of rounds but a massive deficit that now Revenant need to reply in kind with. If Revenant give more rounds on the attack away, I'm in a split mind about it. I feel like they might just dig themselves into a hole too deep.
No, they're definitely going to dig themselves into a hole too deep, because I can vouch for how comfortable Velocity are going to be on the attack, especially with that double duelist comp. When Depmaker and MW1 have their bodies in each other to be able to execute deep onto sites. So for Revenant, this timeout absolutely crucial. They need these last 2 rounds in the bag. And with their buy round coming up, they cannot afford any missteps. Having said that, Velocity now, you can see the way their setup is coming through. They have that Killjoy lockdown, so likely to pay crossfire towards A shot and play A on the retake, and that's essentially what they're set up for, right? Look at those 2 nano swarm. One of the nano swarms to deny the switch position when they come to close the door, and the other nano swarm to deny the plant, all about trying to delay so then they can fast retake on the back of that lockdown.
Bro, permission liya.
Yeah. And we did mention in the draft phase itself, right? The composition that Revenant does have right now, and allows them to modulate the pace in a dynamic way, which I think now with this timeout being called is something that we could expect. And VLT expecting the same, change the setup a little bit. They've sent Amaterasu now towards this A side. They want to contest mid, having Deathmaker peeking in from A short towards mid link. And with Revenant trying to contest mid in a round like this, it's gonna be a problematic affair, as MW1 opens things off very well for the side of VLT, playing ultra aggressive. And mid control firmly denied for VLT. I mean, for Revenant.
I love this. They effectively started playing both sides on retake because they had the Cosmic Divide as well. So with the Cosmic Divide, that B side retake so easy on the back of that Cosmic Divide lockdown combo, and they free up MW1, and he's a beast unleashed. Heavy stack towards mid, and that's exactly where Revenant go to play. Amaterasu reads them like a freaking book, and that timeout does not find any value whatsoever. It should be 8-3 picked up for VLT, and with these set of rounds, I think the only thing that scares me now is if it becomes a 9-3 on Ascent.
I feel like VLT just did a masterclass in terms of how to outread your opponents. Because with that timer they expected change, right? And they brought about change themselves. It at least okay. Talking about change! The odds certainly have, and VLT in the back foot. Amaterasu, the most consistent foot from VLT at this B side, now stands a chance at the retake. Lockdown's gonna be key. Exactly.
Yeah, but if he uses it, if he used it on top of that switch, it could have been spammed up. Use it in the back foot, but
He
still,
knows. He's baiting
no
this
utility.
out.
They're just
He's
gonna
baiting
double
this
swing
out.
him, and they do exactly that. He expects them to do that and shuts them down. Comes from defender side, spotted again. Reads them like a book, not just once, but twice in this round.
Amaterasu. Look at the eyes on the graphic here. Those eyes show that he can kill and be cold about it.
Ruthless.
Merciless. Jeez.
Just they've got to expect him. I think they're thinking he's in first lane, I guess.
I mean, I'll tell one thing for sure. Right there, he gave both Ching and Josh S a warm welcome to South Asia yet again.
You get the Deathmaker welcome with the bullet in your head. You get the Amaterasu welcome with the mind-boggling nature of which how you're supposed to prepare. Well, hey, 8-3 now, Velocity and Amaterasu managed to pull a crucial one back, and it looks like they will remain in control. Deathmakers shut down the null command, and while they were trying a mid to be, we made shut down. Market as well. It might as well just be a massacre ready to play. Deathmakers like, guys, come on, you can't have all the spotlight. Give me some of that as well.
There's Fury to add in the problems, and Deathmaker whips out the blades. Up drop, revealing the head of Wimp, but his Hellfighter to claim his life. Josh S. I'm pretty sure shook by the amount that he had to witness. And Amaterasu does him a good favor to remove him off the battlefield, off the equation
साइड होता था डायरेक्ट मिड
in this half to an end 9-3. CA. I do not know what to think anymore. I do not know what to say anymore. Please help me.
No, I think, yeah, definitely the 9-3 first possibility is there, but I don't think it's necessarily as simple, right? Because this is a very different VLT, a VLT who has learned and persevered, and it's more scary for Revenant at this point because remember, the first map of this BO3 is the map of choice for Revenant. It is Ascent picked up by Revenant. And next, as you can see on your screen, we're gonna head towards Icebox, where Revenant haven't really shown us what they can do over the last 1 month almost. So Revenant now in not the greatest response. They need this pistol to start off a comeback, but this is where the double duel is. The pace of velocity really comes into play. On the attacking side, on the pistol, they've already picked up this A side for Blackhawk. The Shadows looking, waiting for his moment.
Excali with the drone. Oh, they spot him late and they find the kill. Blackhawk. Slight fumble from a position where he could have knitted high value. Quick play though, and one tap gone. Quick dink. He makes the ghost very viable. CQC and MW1 now needs to do the same brilliant triple as he looks to finish this with a quad. And the Nanoswarm delaying Josh S. Now Josh has to get a taste of his own medicine. A double peek, well set up Hellfighter on the white swing. They do it in unison. 10-3 VLT. A very strong showing here in the map. Pick off Revenant. This upper bracket finals is starting to look scary, man.
Yeah, exactly. And Velocity, they look like they are a completely different team. A team that, while we did expect to be on the front foot, we talked about how they are likely, at least in terms of qualifying, the favorites. But we expected to be this to be a close one. It most certainly hasn't delivered. Velocity, after that initial spree where they were surprised, I think, by the aggression that Revenant brought onto play, as soon as they were able to get accustomed, as soon as they're able to get used to it, they put on a flawless display. 10-3 now in Revenant. They are on their eco. Velocity with the better weapons, and well, there is possibility of one tap getting caught out by some spam. Won't be just that, but look at the amount of map control VLT have. They have info over A main, the B main push being marked, they have entirety of mid. It feels like Revenant happy to back off, but for how long?
Yeah, and VLT had the spike all the way towards the spawn area, so that maker just about goes back to try and grab it. W1, easy recovery for him. And they're just walking into pistols here, which should be a piece of cake, considering the kind of action VLT have brought to the table today. Like them to take. Okay, Excali. Excali, don't. Excali, I know what you think. I know what you think. Excali, no!
I love it. I love it, man. Excali sets himself apart, reminds them, hey, you've got the Amaterasu welcome with the mind games. You've got the Depth Maker welcome with a bullet in your head. Well, I am the BM King, baby. Welcome to SA.
And that's
Puts
Ching.
a knife into
No.
Ching's head.
Ay, ay, ay.
That's the
VLT
BM King for you.
really
like
coming to shape
already bottom fragger.
into a monstrous South Asian demon that I'm pretty sure Bleed and Boom have duked off against multiple times. I hope that they're ready for them this time though, as they're looking to be in form.
Combo or what?
Now look, it's all about this round here. If Revenant they are to pull off a comeback, and this comeback needs to happen because it's not just about this map, it's about the momentum, the velocity that MW1 are able to carry into that next map. They need to make this happen, Revenant, because otherwise Velocity will be like a steam engine in the 1950s. Just rolling their way to the victory. Amaterasu is basically Robert Oppenheimer, smelling himself success. But hey, Velocity, Looking to take it slow, they play contact, but now set up for a mid to B. They're gonna pick up the pace, and it's all down to the Empress. MW1, especially with this Spectre, that combat stim buff you get off the Empress can be nasty, man.
Exactly, close range, this thing will be a cheese shredder, and MW1 getting a reset on his Empress will be allowed to try and playing this a little more aggro. Although with Hellfighter taken off, that's a lot of cover out of the picture for VLT. Heck, it might force them to take these fights, and that's what MW1 might even want.
Oh, no.
So it might feed into the problem that Revenant are facing. One of the first few times we've seen VLT getting stuck into where this Excali just decapitating one tap. As one
is
tap
the
god
difference,
gets
right?
one tapped by
Velocity.
Excali.
They know to play aggressive. It's all about the choke points, and they make it happen. It's such a big difference between the way we saw Revenant play that B post plant and the way we saw Velocity, where Revenant were happy to play deep in the site, try to set up crossfires. Velocity instead use that first lane and stairs as choke points.
आता बघ
Revenant aren't looking that beat up though.
येतोय तू
To be a little more composed. Sure, they're not bubbly like they are before, but who's bubbly on a loss, man?
ये ना फ्रीजरचा
and then
DC
Kai
वरती
knows
आहे
how
ना
to take a loss. So it comes with a little bit of having that fight left in you, right? It's more important that
झोपलेत
have the
बाजूला
game in their mind first. And hey, the kind of showing that Revenant had, sure, it might not be what they expected from the get-go, but hey, there is still map 2 and map 3, and we know for Revenant to be a very fluid squad, not only in terms of their ability to play agents, but play off each other. So you just gotta hope that a factor like that really does pay its dividends at dire moments like
लास्ट
this.
पेपर कधी निशान 19 ना आज सुट्टी होती का जाऊन आला
It's all about him trying to slow it down. He has the stars, so he's going to set up the smoke as well as the pull to ensure he's able to pull it out. Amiterasu using that pull to his advantage. Shuts
Yes,
Josh
Sutti.
down, and now that's the advantage. The
आता
pull
डायरेक्ट
coming
2 दिवसाने
on,
पेपर आहे
and
ना
now Amiterasu
19 ला
will hunt for his ace. 3v1 for match point here as Velocity look to take this map for themselves. Blackhawk with an impossible task. And he's got full shields, he's got full health, and a couple of smokes to make it happen, but his position revealed. And with the utility that Velocity have, it seems like an impossible task. A fighter now coming through from heaven.
Yes.
Will be able to spot his crossing over on towards a shot. Just playing for that contact, playing to deny, playing for that time, knowing that turret will give him all he needs to ensure that his leader can get that ace and the match in the back. Velocity with an absolute stop. They take the gauntlet Revenant throw with this ascent map and smack it back into their face. And Velocity pick up map 1.
पर्वत आला
Esports,
कमेंट्री
one
दे
good part about this entire
पहिल्यांदा
scene
करतो रे
is
मला
the fact that
आयडिया
they're
नाही
all
तसा
in the boot camp, right? Gives them the ability to just man huddle up, talk the
रेवेनेंट
game out,
कुठली आहे
and get the shippers out of the body.
इंडियाचीच आहे
Because Velocity
आधीपासून
sure
खेळतोय
did leave a tremor and a cool
प्लेयर चेंज
sensation in
झालाय
the spine every time Revenant come back into the server. It's just about how you cope with something like that.
पहिला RNT मध्ये ते होते ना पॅराडॉक्स वगैरे
It's really not about their ability to reset. It's not about the huddle like you talked about for them to come together as a team and find their way back. It's about the facts, and the facts remain that
Deadly Ten गाणं खेळते
map for Revenant. And with MW1 feeling
त्यांना सांग मॅच 2 तास 2 तास
are going to be stuck with cold
7:30 ला पण आहे कुठली तरी मॅच तेव्हा करू
in that map, it seems like Velocity might just pull out not just a victory but a stomping
इंडिया ओनली जी VLT माहिती आहे ठीक आहे भाई एनिक म्हणा माहिती आहे तुला
like you said, Revenant has the capability to pull it first. Maybe, just maybe, they can find this box and find their way through. But look, the way they started, it
मारले
looked like
आणि
it was
ते.
going to go to overtime. But yeah, it was moments like that where you knew the Velocity would just be able to adapt this there.
बिल्डिंग मध्ये पूजा
MW1 surely did.
एनिग्मा ओलांडलं ठीक आहे भाई
When MW1
आता बघतोय का
Man, that ace side, it felt like there was no chink in VLT's armor whatsoever. The kind of composure VLT had on the defense. You not only had the MW1 show towards A, but you also had the Cali Amaterasu show towards B.
मग तो आज नाही येणार
And Miko
निशान.
occasionally chiming in whenever his teammates allowed it to with that operator.
Enig mo पाकिस्तानचे बोलतो.
VLT aren't found slacking whatsoever. And again, these kind of plays,
ठीक है
man.
निशान भाई कल आता हूँ.
Gotta feel bad for the way Revenant played that.
रात्री तो क्या यार
They had
ठीक.
the full knowledge, knowing that lockdown was present. In that
आता रहा किती वेळाने मॅच चालू होईल?
the confidence to play, double backside. Really didn't make much sense, and Amaterasu quick on the exploit. Those are small attention to detail that an experienced player like Amaterasu can exploit in a very crucial matchup like this to make it look like a breeze for VLT.
There's a breeze for VLT and they don't even get to play breeze.
Side switch होते.
Revenant really did feel the pain from almost every single aspect. MW1 popping off, that Reina able to make her mark, the Mexican spice coming online, Amaterasu's leads, not just in terms of the map, but in terms of that 1v2 as well, and then it's
10
with the knife
minutes.
in the
Okay.
wow, that's kind of great, and I hope it
तब हल्का
engages
सा
them
DM
in
किल
the
के आ
right
सकता हो क्या?
ways. Hope it awakens them, they can come back and light fire on these things.
After 24
And Ray used
December.
them in
Kar?
the right ways. I like the way you put that out there. Negative motivation is another way to look at it, maybe. Work twice.
अथर्व करतोय ना.
It's feelings that may be negative in general, but channeled maybe in a positive manner to try and bring something back in. At the end of the day, it's all about that.
Cheats.
Look, let's be frank, even if this is Velocity just pulling out a 2-0 win.
निशान कडनं दुसरं चांगली गोष्ट कधी एक्सपेक्ट पण नाही करू शकत.
So it's not like they're done and dusted, but I don't think they're
उलटी
settled for
सुलटी कामं
anything
करायला
less than a
सांगतो.
victory right here, so they will be disappointed.
Exactly. And a team like
Cheats
Revenant,
on
right, their
Karwala.
goal is to make it out of the playoff stage. So they
Cheater?
have been performing brilliantly thus far. At least
वो भी
taking
अंदर
VLT out of the
नहीं
equation,
है ना.
Revenant undoubtedly feels like the second best team in this event. So at least for their sake, I'm gonna hope that this is just a warm-up game. We get to see a decent result. See, even if it's a 2-0 CA, if it goes close to the wire,
अथर्व
game,
हल्का सा DM
I'll
क्यों
be
नहीं हो
happy
सकता
with
का?
what Remnant have to show, because at least it shows that it has.
Match
at
चालू
least they
झाले का
have it in
परत
them to
watch
take
party.
the fight, right? Especially when your foes are beating you down. And I think that's something that both Velocity and Revenant, alongside the rest of this league stage bracket, should expect when they're going to face off against Bleeding. So it's essentially preparing for it, man.
दिल का दरिया.
Preparation going to be key though as we head into that next map. MW1, 7 first bloods in 16 rounds. That's almost half the map, man. And at this point, when you consider the fact that he's likely going to stay
Professional spectator. Thank you for your service.
with her laugh just coming
हे माहिती आहे मला निशान. मैं समजतो काय रे मला. हल्ली चरण कॉम्पिक येतोय बे. तुला नव्हता एक खोटारडा.
Match found.
हल्का सा DM बनू दे थोड़ा थोड़ा.
Death match.
राइट्स
Warm up.
माझ्या त्याच कॅन्सल करत तर बॅन बसून साला रमी चांगला कधी बघवणारच नाही तुला मला. आवाज जास्त येतोय. तारीख पे तारीख. तारीख नाही बे असू ना. हे बघ असू ना बोलते अरे हिलिंग भेटली पाहिजे ते आता नको होती असू ना बोलते
The MVP is mine. Let's do this.
गेम वाइज वगैरह ठीक ठीक
Fight.
Let me show you how the boss does it.
बस का साला कैंपर
That's done. Brimstone's out. Rain is down.
असू ना बोलते अरे मला पण
Get out of here.
ठीक ठीक ऑपरेटर माहित होतं रे वीफ केला 148 तारिक कहलवे
Quadra.
अरे हट रे हाँ
Rain is down.
लागत का नव्हते
Dominating.
टीपी मध्ये कोणतरी मस्ती नाही लेफ्ट नी
Quadra.
एस
Dominating.
अरे यार दिसलेली त्याची गन हल्का सा दिसला काय चालू होणार आहे ठीक ठीक डायरेक्ट एक्झिट हा गन काढली पाहिजे होती
No, you don't.
ऑपरेटर ट्वेंटी कल
Quadra.
अरे यार रेस होता. सॉरी गलती हुआ. मुंबई.
Embarrassing.
10 kills remaining.
लॉन्ग रेंज का थोड़ा सा इशू है. हाँ क्राउच. साला टॉप फ्रैगर 7 किल बस.
5 kills remaining.
Sheesh.
Put down.
Put down. Reload him. आवडला मेला तो. हाँ साल आवाज आ गया. किसी ने कुछ नहीं लेता रे बाबा. वाह हेडशॉट. एक किल.
1 kill remaining.
Game point, bro.
शॉट बे.
Oh man, I was just getting warmed up.
आज का स्टोर हिंदी. मैच ये गलती हुआ.
Okay, if we want to beat them, we have to be on our A game. And before this tournament, also they won 2 back-to-back events. And I'm happy it went, but I did not expect that in Pearl. In Bind, it was like opposite. On Bind, I thought like, okay, I think we should win it pretty convincingly. But on Bind, it came down to like, I think at one point it was 9-9. And I expected us to struggle on Pearl, but I don't know. It's Valorant, anything can happen.
Well, at least personally for me, I think it's due to the composition and due to the strength in terms of your agent pool that you guys were able to have such a handy victory to just change strategies on the fly. And that exact reason is why I would be rooting for you guys against VLT in your upper finals matchup. Before we let go of this interview though and bid farewell, any shout out that you'd like to give for your fans who are watching?
Yeah, shout out to everyone who has supported me throughout, starting from Samurai, EXO, and now Revenant. Shout out to everyone, honestly. Everybody have, they've messaged me. Good luck, and we trust you and everything. I just
Black
want
Cock.
who supports, and even if who doesn't support, it's okay. And
तुम
also
बंदे
shout
हो
out
ना?
to our owner, Rohit Jagasia, who actually trusted in me and trusted in everyone, and he's still supporting us. So yeah, thank you to Rohit also.
Well, that sounds lovely, my friend. Good luck to you in your upper bracket finals against Velocity Gaming, and we hope to see the best of you.
Thank you.
Back to the Penta Pro Series, ladies and gentlemen, where we just fought. We just saw VLT fight off Revenant in a fashion where I don't think any of us expected walking in to this day. It's been an absolute thriller of a
Match
game from
started
VLT so far as they
50.
assert nothing but dominance, and this is against a team like Revenant who have dropped currently 2 maps so far in their upper bracket run. Unbelievable scenes in the Penta Pro Series so far. CA, how's the excitement been faring out for you?
Excitement's just been insane, but I must say
तर
I'm
ये
a
लोगों
tad
कुठे बसतात
disappointed
कास्टर्स
because
लोक.
I did expect a much more closer matchup. kind of expected. Oh,
Spoiler
honestly,
का देता
very
है.
first map, and it hasn't been
निशान
delivered.
भाई
But I'm
headshots
really
बघ
excited
जाऊन.
for the individual
Screen थोडा
players
मागे
because
करून.
I think they deserve this level of success. They've definitely shown their capability to adapt, and like we've been talking about for Velocity, it's all about the path to redemption. So definitely a 13-3 victory in the upper bracket, a match to secure your spot in the main event. That's on the right foot to that path to redemption.
Exactly. I think it was Deathmaker who mentioned to me that it was very important for not only him but VLT to maintain the same kind of status quo as they made their way through this playoff stage. And I feel like they've done a brilliant job at that.
Match
So
static.
far, they've not given a chance to anybody who's tried to face off against them, and that's stood true very strong against Revenant so far in the matchup. But like you said, map 1 is over. There is still a chance that we could go all the way to bind hypothetically, but that's only if Revenant are able to fight back in map 2, which is going to be VLT's map pick of Icebox. Again, we have the map veto on screen for you, ladies and gentlemen. If you are a little late to the party and wondering what happened to map 1, I was just like 30 minutes late. Yeah, VLT just steamrolled Revenant on Revenant's map pick of Ascent with a very dominant showing from every individual across the board. You saw Deathmaker pop off. You saw Amaterasu get brilliant clutches. We saw Deathmaker coming in with his standard Deathmaker duty. Excali getting a special knife. And MW1, yeah, I mean, the highlight reel after this game should sort you out.
Yeah, definitely. And I think, again, right, it's all about the way this veto has been set up. Map 2 and 3 favors Velocity to a large extent. Of course, 2 because Revenant haven't necessarily shown us a lot of Icebox, so that expectation could change maybe if Revenant have got something in the bag. But Map 3 bind especially so because I think we talked about this the last time Velocity played bind, but the idea that for Velocity as an organization and as a team, I feel they've never had a race player ever since Excali left, like a dedicated race player. And since Excali's come back again, he's settled back into that race role so damn comfortably. So for that map of bind, it feels like Velocity are just at home. But hey, going into Icebox, 13-3, it's that psychological edge that Velocity have. And really for Revenant, starting on the attack, they've got to make it count once again. Because we saw how comfortable Velocity can get when they can dictate the tempo and they can dictate the pace. But hey, with no further ado, let's head on towards the lobby, find out exactly what agents we're going to get to play. 110% expecting that Reina to come out for MW1. But the question is it going to be DM on Chamber or is it going to be Dab? Okay, that answers that question. Never mind.
Shit.
Whoa!
Ooh, okay. I like it.
What
We're gonna
the
get
God?
the Rana to Rana. Gonna get a Rana to Rana for the
Chamber?
first. Oh, okay. I thought Joshua was gonna go with the Killjoy. I was gonna say for the first time we're not gonna have a chamber on the board, but
No
yeah.
siege? I don't know about this anymore. Look, like again, theoretically, no sage lineups work
RNT full
beautifully,
200
okay?
IQ घेऊन आले.
Again, theoretically.
Yeah, but it's so damn hard to execute. It's so easy for an opponent to punish, especially when you've got the Viper Sovas, the likes of Blackhawk and Ching, who are very good at using their utility in a layered fashion. So, I must say I'm surprised. I thought Amitarasu would lock in that stage, but instead goes for that Killjoy. They won that trap to cover out Kitchen. And I can understand that, but it is going to be a crucial loss in their second half. This makes the first half even more important, OG, because Velocity starting on the defense, if they're able to get a nice lead, that gives them the cushion to make do without that stage in their own attacking side. So Revenant, they need to make sure they put on the pressure right here, right now in this second map.
You know, the last time we did see Revenant even try duking it off on Icebox, I think it was against Global Esports, at least the God Squad variant of Global Esports, where they took it relatively well. I think it was, what, a 39 victory from Revenant Esports, in fact. So they have the ability to play it without a doubt, see. It's just the fact that we've not seen them as recently, right? So there could still be that element of doubt and risk. And again, with the way map 1 did transpire, it's all about the mental reset that these players are able to force within themselves. And hey, at the end of the day, it's a best of 3. Revenant, they've had the strong upper bracket run that they deserve to make it all the way up here in the upper finals. So by no means, by no measure, ladies and gentlemen, have they fluked it. They've deserved their slot just as much as VLT, and they deserve an equal fight considering the kind of ingenuity that's gone behind this roster and the work that these individuals have put in.
Absolutely. Today heading into this map again. It's all about that first half for me. If Velocity are able to get off to a good start, if they're able to get any semblance of a lead, even a 7-5, I think strongly favors VLT than heading on towards the second. Because just as how weak they are without that stage in that second half, it's how strong they can be on their defense. Why I think strongly favors VLT than heading on towards the second. Because just as how weak they are without that stage in that second half, it's how strong they can be on their defense. Now, Reverend starting through on the attack, it's all about one tap God to find his own redemption. Didn't have the greatest off-map ones on ascent, but on this Reina, he will get to devour and make his way back. Starting us off, OJ, with this heavy stack towards the A side, leaving Josh S on the look as the secondary option. But I'm sure one tap won't want any of that. It's all about that first kill right off the bat. Can he get it coming through? Because that may good.
Ooh, they read it.
He's going for the aggressive.
Blackhawk quick on the deny. Chink should get a wealth of information on the back of his drone. They're setting up for this quick take towards A, and again, they have that Sage, right? So it's all the more easier for them to force objective. It's all about how VLT can try and play retake. But that Helef and Amaterasu being alive is going to be a huge asset. Amaterasu, though, bites the dust, and this retake looking darn near impossible as Chink quick on the deny.
Ooh. Great start here for Revenant as they pick up the pistol. Will ensure that DM's operator is damaged later. More importantly, soldiers resettle themselves, because I'm sure, like you said, they've had that huddle, right? They've made sure to have that conversation.
MW on the camera.
Just this map, not think about what happened in Ascent and set their sights on the victory right here. But it's easier said than done. So that's why the pistol is especially key to ensure that not just do they pick up the pistol, but more importantly so to help them just focus on this map, getting started off with a victory.
They look to keep up the aggression. They're not going to turn it out one bit, and they're not deterred by the fact that VLT are quite competent with these pistols. Oh, Chink spots them both, and one tap God with the deep clear forces the retreat from Deathmaker. Although with the retreat comes the decent off angle, and with the decent off angle comes the death of one tap God. Deathmaker still having the tailwind equipped, allows them to hold this angle just a teeny bit longer. Although VLT are not looking to concede that easy. Revenant, they're trying to play the split on the back of that mid lurk.
They still don't know that this is an A stack. So it's all about that lurk, like you said, because if they don't rotate off, they might just walk into a massacre. Revenant, I can see the pings coming through. They want to head on towards this A side, but they walk into a stack. That Maker will double down on their troubles, and while Ching does find the trade, it looks like Velocity might just hold this one down. LF's finds one, but Ching comes up huge to find the double. And finally,
triple in fact.
To take this side. It's still 1v2 right now. Amaterasu has the advantage of them not knowing his position, and he's able to deny the Vandal with just a classic.
Oh, the
Josh
classic!
He finds the jump, but by the scale of his speed, Josh pulls that off. But that's a huge eco for Velocity. 4 guns taken away.
4 guns taken away, a bolt-or utility that was invested as well from the side of Revenant. Now on the investment, VLT truly stand a chance of crippling this Revenant momentum that's gone their way this early segment at the first half. Weaponry looking to be equal almost across the board. The only compromise being Wimp on a Bulldog. But hey, he's the Sage, right? And a forward play a little more passive. Passive to some extent have been Revenant. Not across the map, however. They choose to camp outside a site to look for any openings. This time with their late take towards A, it might just feed into VLT's early setup. Nice
Oh,
trade.
but MW1 opts to not
Easy.
dismiss. Instead, the bait set up for Depmaker. He's able
Shot.
to find the trade and just as easily backs right up to find yet another. Depmaker shutting them down. And this round, normally you'd think for Revenant, it's okay, it's a bonus. It's not. They had to invest.
Not,
they lost
yeah.
all of their weapons. It was a buy for them as well. So Revenant, they need to pull this one back. And once again, it's on the back of Ching. He was the hero in the eco, looking to be that protagonist once again.
Scally aware that it could be a close sneak from 410. The very important position that he's trying to play here essentially will be the man who initiates the fight. CS avenues
Backstab बोलते
through both sides of 410 and Hellfighter, a patient backstab. As of no avail is Maduratsu, mans up the front line. VLT, a crucial round where they found success.
रेड बुल पीना जरूरी है क्या?
Yeah.
They've broken
force Revenant
the
now.
money and the momentum, which is going to be big.
Yeah, they will force Revenant now onto that eco.
अच्छा
So
the next level
it gives them the round they need to build up towards the operator. I don't think that maker should be able to afford it in this particular round, but as long as they're able to pull off a flawless one or a close to flawless one here, it should build them up enough to be able to get the operator in the next now. Oh, actually even better so, that maker has the Blade Storm in his hand, so Velocity looked to get aggressive towards mid early, but as soon as they spot out this B hit, they brought back their point man. Depmaker ready to deny those blades coming online. He finds the
Okay,
burst,
Depmaker.
pops the head off another, and he's hungry for more. He's got his dash back online, triples down as a threat, and just like that, Revenant, they're falling apart.
Hungry for the quad, hungry to feed his blades. Revenant Esports suffered the death of 1,000 cuts at the hands of Deathmaker.
ऑल मध्ये वाजला का
Makes
DM
quick
काहीतरी
death as he's outrageously aggressive. The way he
So
used
bad
that
for-
tailwind SCA, I held onto my chair. And he sure is keeping us at the edge of it.
That's his
Again.
operator definitely coming online. He's made enough money on his lonesome, so we've seen what happens when that maker starts popping off. Map 1 seems to be the map of the rain-up. It looks like the girl from Korea will now come online. That maker living up to his name, forcing out a very, very, very early timeout from Revenant. Wow, that's an extremely early timeout. 2-2, that too, wow. Quite surprised.
I think they understand that once you let VLT get into their comfort zone, which Deathmaker already looks to be in, and once that Deathmaker show
Hard
kind of
carrying game.
encourages the rest of VLT to get their own game on, that's what Revenant want to try and deter.
It's just when you call a timeout this early, you face the possibility of course, this timeout may yield great results, but as soon as VLT are able to adapt, then what? You use your second timeout already in the first half, because that might be disastrous. But hey, I'm hoping, like you said, it's just to destroy any momentum that Deathmaker might have been building up to, sort of curb the fire in his hands, and at the same time, maybe Malix has some sort of a read to give to his team, because it looks like Velocity, once again, they're going to switch up their setup. Solo towards that B side just to deny the plant is Hellfighter, as Amitarasu helps him out. It's all about these duelists towards this A side to hold it down with their fighting power. And look at MW1 out of the gates, hunting for them. He shuts one down, but the dismiss not able to get him out. One tap got with it.
It's still Ching who's bit the dust, however, so it's a very important frag. Very less information now for Revenant to base their future fight spawn, which they have another minute to decide. And it looks like the decision's already made. It's gonna be a hit towards A. Only on Josh S if he's able to even find anything. That's again, if HLF presents himself, right?
Exactly. And they're walking back into that operator, and like you perfectly mentioned, without that Sova, without that Soul Initiator, Deathmaker might just have a field day. It's all down to one tap god. He has the Empress online, and Deathmaker with a slight whip spots themselves out, and Revenant, they pounce. One tap and Wimp with a one each, they're going to be able to open up the site, and instantly they take it all apart. And the marginal points. If Deadmaker lands that shot, suddenly it's a very different round. But instead, Revenant, they pounce and likely get this one in the back. But hella, he finds one. And suddenly, 2v through in this round. But now all down to Amaterasu. 1v3. Extremely difficult. But he lines them up and shuts them down. The plot not done for Josh S either. For Amaterasu not able to cross over. Josh S does secure the round. Aye, aye, aye.
Dude, I saw flashbacks of Ascent. That picture
Ascent
just came into my mind. Sheesh. Revenant showing that this in fact is the South Asian Derby and anything is possible. And in the fashion they clawed it back as well, right? They were reliant on finding a slacking Deathmaker, which they did. As soon as that paid out, they just rushed, man. Just W.
And one tap got living up to his name, right? As soon as Deadmaker was spotted down, it was that instant one tap towards him. But here, Velocity, they've still got enough money. While they don't have the operator, they are able to afford a buy, and the same cannot be said for RNT. Wimp relegated to just a Spectre. Now in terms of ultimates though, Velocity setting up that Viper's Pit to deny this ace site. It's all about setting Deathmaker up for success, because you look at the advanced position he finds himself towards B long with the trap for Excali set up towards mid. The Revenant inching their way so closer. Is that recon spot? None? Oh my lord, the timing.
Excali facing the brunt of the Revenant front line, and it's MW1 who stands a good chance of ripping them to pieces. The Hunter's Fury from Ching, not gonna rat out the position of MW1 on the dismiss. Man's being an absolute menace. It's all on the Blackhawk and Ching, and they've come from the same angle of attack. MW1 inching closer and closer towards his next prey, anticipating the position of Blackhawk based on the reload of Ching. No, Ching! Oh, what? He still finds the double!
1v2?
Unbelievable! Ching clawing his way back. He's been the savior for Revenant in the past, but fails to redeem himself in the 1 versus 4. How much can you expect one man to do, however?
Even though it's just the start of the first half, in this second map, these rounds going down to the wire. Revenant with the right macro call at least to try and wrap that Viper. They tried to execute that mid to A, play the timing beautifully, dodge out that recon, and able to punish Excali. But that Empress just laughing at their face. Hasta Fuego says MW1 as he shuts them down piece by piece, and at that point the damage is done. Again, damage is done in terms of economy, and it's all down to the Tour de Force. The drone gonna miss out on that maker. No, it still spots him out, and he has to dash out, but still the utility available to deny the plant. It looks like RNT will still try to force it all the way through.
Deathmaker's position reveal now puts him in a tough position, without a doubt, and Cheng quick to put him out of his disposition. Amaterasu does have himself the lockdown, so oh no, Excali really shouldn't have given that away, and this could be very well spammed down. Amaterasu needs to protect those with his life, but he ends out going despite of it. No! Out of the equation, out of the round, but his lockdown still surviving gives a little bit of room for Hellfighter to maneuver and find Cheng. Revenant still yet to make the decision whether they want to commit to this B site.
I think they have.
Or make that gamble towards A. At least now, VLT have the possibility to fight back together. They can thin down the numbers considering their weaponry advantage, as now Wimp has no wall to try and force the plant.
Oh, and MW1 takes full advantage. They dismiss the reposition, but the Leo is slightly off time. Josh S finds a crucial one. Hellfighter now in a 1v3, and it's not his world he's playing in. It's his mirrors, the white swing coming online, but the wide swing from Hellfighter to shut Josh S down. Still 1v2 with the plant done. Utility available here. Hellfighter playing all around, but the lack of vision without his white swing plays against him. Wimp with a crucial one to find a huge thrifty. They committed so many ultimates to that one to OG. To resurrect the Viper's Pit, they needed that one, and crucially they get it through.
A lot of newer players think that in the Viper
Three,
split,
four
vision
scores
is
are there.
primarily the problem. Apart from vision, it's more about the DK that puts you on a timer as to how much you can play within the pit without it being a little too risky. Where a random stray bullet, random stray shock dart takes away your life. When up close and personal, that maker would do a stop. And this very much was required. I'm not sure if Revenant gained this on the back of that timeout or was there another call made on the fly. But what they're doing right now is essentially stripping VLT of not only money, but also comfort from pulling off dangerous maneuvers, which we've seen from MW1, which we've seen from Deathmaker, which we've seen from Excali.
It's all about that bait setup. We talked about it on Ascent. It's what I was expecting Revenant to play like on Ascent too, right? To bait out these aggressive moves from VLT and punish them again and again, because when it goes silent on the map, when VLT are on defense, they can't help but hunt for information. And every single part of the map, Revenant are just able to punish them all together.
Nice try,
but he does pull one back. Can't be much of an anchor with just a Sheriff. Revenant able to easily pick out this one, take it in the back.
Finally, I think this is one of the few times in the series where they've had the lead, and now they have the hard duty of holding it. Again, it's not about getting ahead, it's about staying ahead, right? Which is the harder part of the race.
Bangalore FC versus
Revenant.
Revenant.
They needed to dig deep to get the lead, they need to dig deeper.
India, Bangladesh.
VLT taking a timeout in this kind of a position. They need to do the same as to what VLT did to Revenant on Ascent, right? When Revenant took the timeout early on against VLT, VLT just changed the setup on the defense duty. Now Revenant stands the chance to do the same, switching it up and trying to anticipate what a VLT modulated defense will look like.
Yeah, and I really do think the only major change that Velocity need is to not itch for that information, not itch to make those plays, because one thing we've seen from Revenant, right, despite whichever setup they might look to set up, whichever way they might like to play, the setup of the players who are actually playing in that default or who are cutting noise will always be the same. Josh S is their lurker. He will be the one left out, which means they are going to stay together. It's very hard to push that kind of setup out. When a team is doing a 2-1-2 default maybe, then you can push them and catch them out. But when Revenant are always doing those 4-1 setups and Josh S is able to make his way out, there's no need to get aggressive. You have to allow them to come to you.
And that's a double-edged sword, right? Because the comms also could be like, you just spot Josh Ash, we know where the rat is, we know where the entire enemy team is thereafter with that information. So you could make the argument of the contrary as well, in fact. All about to how much extent you can pull off your strategy, and Excali does not get any information on the back of his early Hunter's Fury. Rather than knowing that Hunter's Fury's gone down the drain, they have the ability to play such a better post plant that if they play their cards slow and right, it could be a crippling move for VLT.
No, but this is what I mean though. You know Revenant is going to regroup and VLT making that right call, that timeout, they don't push, they don't look for information. Instead, they elect to play on their utility. Yeah, sure, while they have lost out on the Hunter's Fury, they still have both the snake bites for the B side, the entire utility of that KJ towards A, and Deathmaker slowly inching his way through, has now got the rotation to play as well. With the drone giving over the sound towards B long, they know it's all about this B site, and once again, MW1 in one of his cheeky one and done positions. But for that Reina, it's more like one and you're done.
Everybody from Revenant just waiting to pounce. 30 seconds on the clock, so timing is very much of the essence. And a brilliant Hunter's Fury from Ching. Finds a little bit of information but no confirmation, and VLT fight back strong. Like you said, MW1 being the cheeky demon that he is, consistently being a threat for Revenant Esports, and they're simply not able to fight back. It's yet again on Ching, and his heroics are simply not enough. MW1 just one-ups him in every department. Considering he's given the fights that he wants, that's something that you cannot afford to do against Arena, and especially MW1.
And with the way Icebox is set up, right, if you are going to go for contact plays, you need those double initiators unless you're able to bait the other team out. Which is why it's crucial for Velocity to not get overly aggressive and get caught out, and make sure that they're able to instead set up their own contact setups or crossfires on this site, because without that second initiator, without that KO in play, it's very hard to break it all apart, to clear yellow as well as site at the same time. Now the drone, it does spot Deathmaker out, but again, happy to just back right up and play to deny the plant. Revenant though, this time much faster on the execute, trying to come through. It's again Deathmaker to shut them down. They will still be able to get the plant through though. Oh no!
TM ने wall तोड़न दिला है.
Disaster. And it strikes thrice.
हट रे स्मार्ट.
No. Revenant Esports, despite having everything going in their favor to get the wall down, get the plant,
4 KD है.
Deathmaker just continues to squeeze every inch out of the Revenant imperfections.
कसा वैताग लाया तो Black Hawk.
Again, it was almost perfect CA, but almost doesn't cut it against a Deathmaker who's looking this strong and on point.
Exactly. And while I like the overall idea of understanding that, okay, this velocity is not pushing, they're not over-rotating, which means they're going to have always lesser people on site compared to us. We can try to force it out. It's again where that lack of the double initiator makes it that much harder. I think they shouldn't be using that drone towards B long. Instead, get the Reyna to use her lures early and save the drone for yellow, and then the recon for site itself, so they can push Deathmaker off those positions. But it's easier said than done, because while Velocity are holding on, Revenant, they've tried to pick up the pace towards this ace side. They've got a 1-for-1 and they should be able to get the plant, but it's all down to that Empress. One tap God has come online.
All about the kind of space that Ching was able to create, and his team now needs to make good use of it. Wimp firm on the deny, Hellfighter not able to aggress through tubes. Cover lacking for VLT, but frags are plenty, leaving Blackhawk all alone in the Viper's pit. If there's one thing that makes this doable, it's the Viper's pit, and Amaterasu knows how to play around it. It feels like just another day on his block. VLT taken a small lead at the dying segment of the first half. Revenant. The entirety of VLT pouncing on the retake, I feel like one thing that we really did not mention, CA, is the fact that utility is a secondary concern for Revenant on the retake, right? To deny it. So I think one thing that they need to do while waiting, while in the first 45 seconds as they're not committing, is at least bait out the utility. Only then will they stand a chance in the post plan. Otherwise, there's just too much BS that VLT have in the back pocket, alongside MW1 and Deathmaker popping off, with Amaterasu making impact plays. Like, that's too much on your plate already.
But that's the thing, right? They can't bait out utility without using some of their own. Or they try to go contact without using utility early, and that's where these aggressive positions of MW1 really do pay off. Like, look, again, they use the recon for the front aggressive push, but now Velocity able to stack up the sights, and the drone only clearing towards Sandwich. One tap bot, still able to find value. There's still a 3 stack of VLT though, and it's through the ropes that they catch him out, sliding their way through. Revenant, they managed to pick out a couple, but Amaterasu burns them all down with those nanoswarms coming into play. Hellfighter now on the flank to deny this Viper. It's this 1v1 that might just decide the round, because the Resurrect has come through on site. They will get the point. Hellfighter able to win it out. So 2v3 now. It's time for Deathmaker to make his mark. These demons from the east, these brothers in arms, it's their time to shine.
Hellfighter is making the long rotation to make sure they play this 2v3 together. They're at least able to, at the minimum, trade each other out. Makes this much more of a doable round. Hellfighter on the aggression, not able to find a better one-tap god. With the pistol, Deathmaker's only good for one. Revenant, even out the half, 6-6. Tell me if this is wrong. I feel like in every game so far, CA, where there's been an underdog versus, you know, a big dog matchup, the David and Goliath matchup, every time the first map is a whitewash and the second map comes so close, but it ends with the underdog having no cigar.
I think it's just because of the experience factor. Because it comes close because the underdog has nothing to lose. It feels like they've let go of their chains that are keeping them stuck in their mentality, and they're able to play their very best game. But in those last moments when the pressure is able to push them over the ticking line, that's where that experience matters to weather the storm. But hey, a 6-6, I think that's a great half for Revenant, because now velocity on the attack, they'll have to make do without a sage. Without a wall, that plant becomes also impossible. So this is where the defaulting, the lurking for velocity, absolutely crucial. Hellfighter needs to be that lurking presence to give them that secondary option, but it's easier said than done. His lurk option shut out, and MW1 found as well. And while Deckmaker does find the trade, he's taken out, and that means Revenant, they're ensure that they cut out the side. He's got a nice lurk towards mid, and the timing for a Hellfighter, he's managed to sneak in. Oh my god.
Who's gonna clear whom? Oh, Josh spots him! Hellfighter. He tried his very best to clear every other angle. Boy, I feel for him. Cali's the only one in any proximity to do anything, and he's denied firmly as well.
Kick down melee
All on
by
the
kick.
experienced man. Soul on Amaterasu.
30 seconds left.
Josh S takes it out though. Yet again, the lead for Revenant Esports. It's been quite a while since we said that.
6-7 on both though. Now they get to play the anti-eco. Josh S especially,
Easy way.
since he's able to
velocity.
get 2 off the bat, will likely save so that he can get the operator in that third round.
7-6.
But I think in these positions, when you want to try to get Hellfighter to look, save my judgment till the next few rounds come out, but it would be better maybe for Velocity to flip the map. Force out B long, force out Josh S, and let Hellfighter lurk where there is no sentinel, where he can find someone off guard, maybe a aggressive one-tap guard. But in this particular round, it's just an eco, and one tap has got himself a Vandal, spots out the bow of Excali, and will get spotted out. Needs to reposition now. With that information, Velocity trying to force this particular site down. Should be able to get the plant right here, but no, one tap guard, he denies, and now Deckmaker left on his lonesome with the dream to pull something off. But hey, it's just an eco. A great one though for Revenant here on their anti-eco, as they're now able to play that bonus. Josh S particularly will carry on his Sheriff, saving for his op, and with 4,000 credits in the bank in that next round, that op is most definitely coming out. For Velocity though, this is the buy round.
Bye.
They've got to make it count, and they've got to make it happen.
Yeah.
Seems like they're already starting to set up that conditioning for the lurk. The shock toss to break the kitchen trap. Amaterasu, he'll find the first. But the trap isn't broken, that shot dot failed.
Exactly what I was gonna say. And like you said, right, that early operator, it could be used against them as well. Yesterday, Deckmaker showed that he's more than comfortable trying to put that operator to use, even on the attack. Ooh.
किती मार खाना?
Deckmaker finds the dink. Almost finds the confirmation. And mind you, this is Revenant trying to do as much damage as humanly possible to VLT. So any guns that they take out of their hands is gonna be immensely valuable. I think MW1's leg should have just been spotted by the edge of his screen. Although Ching with the Marshall holds on very best of his abilities. 2 guns down. If Blackhawk is able to make this 3, just still a decent round, all things said and done.
3v1.
It's all about what damage Blackhawk is able to do here. If he's able to take yet another weapon, I'd say a successful round. But with just a couple weapons taken away and the plant coming through, Velocity should have more than enough money to continue their buy in the next round. But hey, it won't matter. And you can see the temperature is picking up. Excali definitely feeling the heat, turning the AC down. But hey, at this point, right, it's all about this next round. Josh S with his hands on the operator. And this is where I want to see Velocity actually default towards B long, but no scratch that. They're not going to default. It seems like they want a W this round.
W. Josh S on the operator. It's gonna be something that they need to maybe execute with a little bit of speed. As if the operator comes towards the side defense, it'll be problematic for them to get that plant. Again, they do not have that Sage, right? So that operator will just give slight comfort to aggression. Wall buys them a little bit of room. Excali forcing down the plant.
Wow.
Excali spammed down and taken down by Molotov. This is the Sage problem. This is the Sage dilemma.
Yeah. You can't go for the plant unless you try to aggress Snowman or aggress site. This B site especially is the worst of it. Maybe in A you won't face that problem without the Sage as much, but on B it's nigh impossible. But hey, that maker's at least able to pull one back. Again though, Revenant happy to hold their positions because Josh S has so much damn info on the rotations. Velocity once again trying to force this side through. It's Hellfighter this time. That has become the bait. He will get the spike down and he has a double snake bite, so he's able to get back in time. Can play now on the post.
He has the opportunity here to buy time alongside Amaterasu and his Deathmaker, who needs to make quick work out of the Revenant retake. The wall needs to be spammed down, the half diffuse, not stuck. Wimp gets off it, but for good reason. They take the aim deals as it comes, and Revenant Esports are able to win every single one of them out. Money is looking a little shallow in the hands of VLT, as two members will be able to struggle to reinvest. I think they just forced the CA. They do not allow Revenant to touch double digits in a position like this, especially when you have Deathmaker, when you have MW1 manning the Vandals. It could give them a good front line, but it's actually Amaterasu and Excali who ends up taking the rifles. And hey, at the end of the day, Amaterasu and Excali, considering they're the Killjoy and Sova, have to trade out the aggression bought by MW1 and Deathmaker, right? So it makes decent sense as to why they would do so.
And look, we saw One Chance play without that Sage, right? It's all about the defaulting to bait out the utility, to get someone in an advanced position and go back and forth. So Velocity, they need to play around that, and MW1 shuts down that operator, gets a crucial frag.
Are you serious?
Should be able to inch their way ever so closer, but MW1 they spotted out, and Excali ends up being the play.
DM is back.
Still,
Walks into the bullet.
Velocity's efforts though, all to try and recover that particular weapon. They see it in those tubes. They're trying to make it happen, but Revenant not giving them the light of the day, making it harder than ever. Velocity, they have to back off. Still, that weapon now in MW1's hands. He's got himself upgraded to a Vandal, and now only 1 point away from the Empress. That Reyna might just turn things around.
Yeah, that wall forces them into the avenue. That one tap god lies in wait. They've broken the wall, they've shown their position, and one tap god shows his lethality. Wimp just jiggling and flirting around the boxes. Was able to stay alive and stay well within this 1 versus 2. But they play this together, Revenant. Discipline being displayed against one of the most experienced players in the country. Thratso on 19 HP. A far-fetched dream considering the setup.
Nice
and
one.
Revenant quick to put Amaterasu to sleep.
7-10
Double
bhai,
digits.
comeback
This Revenant Esports was not seen in Ascent whatsoever. This is the kind of Revenant Esports that we hyped up. This is the kind of underdog matchup that we wanted to see. A firm lead in the second half, and Josh, he has the ability to pull out the Tote Force and give away that Vandal to Ching. Although they still want to invest fully in the rifles. I assume that on a round like this, what you'd like to do is choke your opponents, right? And a Tote Force does that brilliantly so.
You can see Velocity, they have the right idea. They're trying to set up for the conditioning. Now, that maker with the Opper to condition off that B wall, but it's easier said than done because Revenant know that they can just leave that solo Viper Black Hawk to anchor it down. Without that Sage, that Viper's life so damn easy, and he lines them right up. Gonna back off now and stay on his snake bites to deny them altogether. Setting up the Viper split as well. It seems like Velocity, they're just falling apart.
Everyone just lies in wait. So low HP, could be spammed. No, Blackhawk lets his teammate die. MW1 on the re-aggression denied. 2 versus 4. And Excali cannot stand the test of time. Did Hellfighter use his ultimate at the worst possible time?
Yup, that's that Viper split gone for VLT, and honestly, they're just trying to play too fast without that stage. They've got to slow it down like doubly so. They need to look for the hits late into the round and punish Revenant rather, not line up
Bone
and
main
try to
player
go for
खेलेगा
executes.
अमतरा
And if you are going for executes, better the A side than B, or even mid to B. Mid to be pretty good with this lineup. A direct B hit, you can see the Viper just able for its child's play. There's nothing to deny that Viper. No KO knife, no Sage Wall to deny the snake bites. He's just able to play his free game.
And that's what it kind of feels like in the second half, right? Ever since Radeon called that timeout. Now it's a technical timeout, so yeah. Small moment for both these teams to have a mental reset. Which, at least in my books, undoubtedly favors VLT.
What I'd actually like to see VLT do, maybe like play a 3-1-1. Send the Reyna, the Jet, and the Sova towards B long. You can set up the recoil for the Jet to dash on over to take container control, Alir to make sure that the Opper doesn't peek him out, and once you clear B long, you can leave either the Jet or Reyna there, and then you can start having Hellfighter or Amit Rasul lurking towards mid and A side and try to punish aggression, because if that doesn't happen, you can see for Revenant it's very simple, especially because this is Revenant's biggest strength. I think their ability to lay back and not get baited into aggression, their ability to be that disciplined force on the defense, it's their biggest strength. And right now, their biggest strength is the answer to Velocity's biggest weakness in this half. So everything playing out right for Revenant, I think they're on the right track to pull this map out.
They have the revive,
Ooh,
so
the
they
aggressive.
can afford to force the aggressive play here. And one tap god alongside Wim playing this one ultra aggressive. They need to go for the Lear, however. Nobody is trying to attempt to break the flash. And VLT, they end up going from man for man. This favors them, however. If they're able to force the issue and continue with the pace, which they have not been able to. Amaterasu with that lockdown will nullify the situation. Shock darts, is that going to be enough? Nope. They just have to concede. They respect the room that VLT have bought. And sadly with room comes MW1 on his aggressive Rena. Been a phenomenal talent for VLT in this matchup so far. And he has the ability to claw his team single-handedly back into the matchup. But that TP betrays him. And Josh S having the small ability to survive and fight back. They fight back in tenacity and fury, as it's only one man left. Again and again, they look to Amaterasu to find answers in the clutch. And yet again, he finds the head of Blackhawk. The Swarm to buy time. One of them is destroyed. Josh S buys himself a slither of hope, but this has gotten room for Amaterasu to sneak right on through. No sense of comfort whatsoever. Low HP, but Josh still does it. Unbelievable.
A huge clutch coming through from Josh S, and you could see the game sense of Amaterasu. His alarm bot is only denying one entry on the flank. Realizes that he may come through belt there, Blackhawk, and make sure to mark him to shut him down, but it's just not enough. Josh S staying aware to try and force out that early nano swarm by shooting it out, and then just clean with that headhunter to take out Amaterasu, find the clutch as well as the map point. Revenant now in control of the court to take out Velocity's map, but it seems like Velocity will finally switch it up. They're going for that mid play. Much more aggressive, trying to find Ching and shut him down, but with the Hunter's Fury available on Ching, as soon as he tags one out, he's gonna smell his prey and try to hunt them down. He finds the first and now looking for the other. Doesn't find the tag, and does actually use that chaos to sneak on in. He gets spotted out. Now it's MW1's turn to cook something up because he snuck into kitchen.
Very forward position. Very, very upfront play. And MW1, the snappiest of aimers. Decisive plays to make a decisive play yet again. Imagine if you would have gotten Josh S in the round prior to its screens. It would have been done and dusted for VLT.
Well, 7, Gigabyte.
Revenant has
Slow
been
to
so
look at Amaterasu,
incognito.
look. He needs to take contact here. He's making the noise as well They're all inching towards his A site. Amitarasu, he pulls off a brilliant fake, and now Josh is left on his lonesome. The AWP gets shut down, and Amitarasu suddenly has all of their backs turned against them. Now he's going to be quiet, like a snake, inch their way ever so closer as VLT tried to shut him down. The dismiss to spot out yet another failure to blind him out, and it doesn't matter at this point because they managed to spread the defenders apart, but still piece by piece give away the duel, and they shut down the flank expected, and that maker now left on his lonesome.
Not like this.
RNT, they shut them out, and exactly, you thought for a second that Velocity might pull it out, but Revenant, they stay aware, they remember the flank, they remember their position, the comms are perfect, and they pull this map out.
Go the distance. Revenant Esports truly showing form and composure. The faces on VLT do not look all that happy. And why would they be? Dominant first half to begin with, slowly edged out to an equal 6-6. Ever since that,
सर नेक्स्ट मैच का दिए
Match found.
ना भाई सेज नव्हता ना म्हणून प्लांटच नव्हते करू शकत बीला नेक्स्ट मॅच काय ते
Death match. Warm up.
Okay, bye. 10 minutes. Okay, okay. Sandwich all day. Double dozen. चांगला खेळली हां अरे हे पण नव्हता ना काय बोलतात सेज असते ना जिंकले असते फ्लिक मारायला शिकवलं
One bullet brain.
अरे भाई
That should be enough, yes?
मारले
Fight.
Who will I spot first?
सुम्मा मारले बे हेड अंडर
Toaster is broken.
Apple.
I win again.
जाके देख मेरा कार्ड में शॉटगन मेरे मोबाइल आला मध्ये
Away with you.
really
You lose. Too slow.
अरे साउंड आलेला यार सैंडविच बोलते हैं ये क्या कर रहे हो मला दिसतच नाही तर चुकीच्या वेळेस फोन केलं माझं कसं करावं नाही ना
Next.
अरे मला साऊंड का नाही दे
Toaster is broken.
Toaster is broken. यार काय मारते
So close. One less.
मिड प्लेयर ना है
10 kills remaining.
Not your best.
अरे मालक ना दिस
5 kills remaining.
So close. One less. I win again.
One kill remaining.
I was right there.
41. Start will
Match found.
Sana na.
Death match. Warm up.
अरे direct game crash.
The South Asian playstyle is very interesting in the sense that it's not your everyday playstyle in which you can expect them to do predictable things. Like sometimes they just do a lot of solo plays that don't make sense. Like if you watch God's Rain, I see Sai on Jet, he flanks with the ARP, which not usually everyday things that you watch as an entry agent. And he lurks on the Jet, which is annoying to play against, which is something you don't really face in a like typical Southeast Asian matchup.
Well, true, man, true. And at least take it from me, if nobody else has said this to you yet, welcome to the South Asian experience, because this tournament is truly gonna put it to a test for you.
Oh, yes.
Before we finish the tournament and before we finish this interview, any final shout-outs that you'd like to give?
I would say
I got your backs. Just, you know, from the front.
Fight.
Stay safe.
अरे जो समोर येतो तो मारतोय हे ना जमत
Healer down.
Match started. Okay. चालू हो गया भाई. नहीं रे.
Second fall inside the map with the way the IGLs in Amaterasu and Wimp face off against each other. And what that is going to result in is that one IGL and one coach will take the cake and will have the better read. So I think it's very likely that we have a pendulum kind of matchup, with like win streaks going in either direction.
Win streaks going in either direction. I mean, you talk about the kind of highlight plays that we got to see on map 2 itself. It kind of is a stark contrast of what we did get to see on Ascent, right? On Ascent, it was what the VLT show essentially. Everybody had their own montage, but it was quite the contrary if Icebox is taken into consideration, right? Because despite the fact that Reckoning Esports did not come up with massive, like, quad kill individual plays, each of the individuals did respectively enough lifting in their own rounds of impact. For example, One Tap God, with the kind of consistency he was able to make space for his team, especially as they're hitting the plant both towards that A and B side. With Blackhawk's brilliant push towards B main, where he managed to net himself 2 kills on the rotation, and with, again, a lot of timely rotations and pieced utility. In fact, there was so many times where I think it was Ching, right, who was playing the Sova in the side
Yeah.
of Revenant. The kind of recons that he set up on the defense really did punish that no Sage composition that VLT did walk in with. So everybody doing their individual homework here, and VLT find themselves at a difficult crossroad.
Oh, 100%. And look, at the end of the day, I think what is definitely one thing we can expect for certain is what kind of matchup we're going to get in coming here through in Bind. So let's have a look at the map, Vito. Remind ourselves how this went out, because like you rightly mentioned, both of these teams traded out their respective maps. Revenant picked up Ascent, Velocity stomped them 13-3. Velocity picked up Icebox, and Revenant were able to secure a clinical 13-7 victory. And now we head on towards Bind, where I don't think you can point out any factor where either team may be uncomfortable or the agents might be an issue, or anything like that. This is a completely even map.
It's a very dead even matchup as well. So it's all going to be on the pressure now. It's on who lets the other's nerves really lose. Like the last time that we did see VLT on Bind, they looked to be playing in their old comfort style. I do think that VLT haven't had a lot of time to work on their Bind, so they were just going on the fly, right? I think with the way things are going in the side of Revenant Esports, it just makes me feel that they have a minor edge walking into this matchup. I'm actually feeling the upset here, man. I think it's gonna be Revenant to take this game out. What do you think, CA?
I believe in the Cali Rays, man, but I can't make a prediction. I think, like you said, Revenant are really, really good on this map. So are Velocity. And while you are right, I don't think they're going to have a lot of time to be able to prep this map out. The composition they play is actually something they've been playing ever since I was there as well. So they've actually got a hefty playbook to rely on. And for Excali, it's not much to learn, right? It's just, as a race, it is easier for you to be set up for success. So I think this is one map where they didn't actually need a lot of prep coming into this map. So I think it's as even as it gets. Wimp, though, pulling out that breach, that is going to be that difference. Because, like you might remember, when we saw Revenant last on this map, they like to play that breach fade lineup, set One Tap God up for success.
Yeah, and on the other side, it's gonna be the Sky Fade. So a small contrast in terms of initiators and in terms of controllers as well. With Blackhawk taking the Astra, it's gonna be MW1 on the other side, where we've seen him on Bind playing the Brimmy. Although we didn't see him make the same kind of impact that he could as Arena, still more than a consistent controller. It's a veto that I think both of us expect both teams playing to their comfort zones here as far as we're concerned.
Yeah, absolutely.
Both of them playing to punch in their tickets to fighting both Bleed and Boom.
100%. Very different compositions coming into this map, so very different playstyles inherently. So I think what is crucial is that one small chink in Velocity's armor that you did mention, It's MW1 on the controller. The last time they played it out, he didn't have the greatest of maps. He was single digit at least in terms of the frags, and we didn't really see his impact as well as compared to the Reyna, where you can see he's a lot more comfortable. I wonder if MW1 can find that same mojo on this Brimstone.
He really needs to, man, because at least what the last map proved to us is everybody on the side of Revenant is able to individually live up to their capabilities and expectations and more than deliver. So that now is shifted the court of blame on the side of VLT. And hey, this might have been a heartbreaking loss on Icebox. There were a couple of rounds that they hypothetically could have won in a far more simplistic fashion, but yet fleeted away from them. It happens. It's a best of 3. This is indeed the test of what champions need to be made out of, and Revenant are giving them more than just a run for their money. So again, with me favoring the Revenant hype train, I'm all itsy and bouncy to get on Bind.
Oh, absolutely. I can't help it now. Adrenaline is pumping, and I haven't even had my Red Bull today. So I'm really feeling it. And at this point, I think anything can happen. That's the best part, right? Because normally, especially as an analyst, you have certain expectations, you have ideas with the way the match may go, and surprises are pleasant because they really show you how different teams can be. But the best matchups always are when you have no idea what is going to happen, at least in terms of who's going to win. Now, what we do know is how these teams like to play, and that's where I'd again like to bring in the picture that we saw from map 1 and map 2. Map 1 all about Velocity's dominance, them taking the fight to Revenant and playing in their face, especially with the likes of MW1, right? And Map 2 all about Revenant's discipline, Revenant's patience, and that working out beautifully. Now coming into Map 3, Velocity, they can't do the same. Deathmaker can afford to on his chamber, but MW1 not so much on the Brimstone. So they're gonna have to find discipline and patience of their own. But at the same time, for Revenant, none of Velocity's composition actually sets Revenant up for success anymore. It's not just about their discipline and patience. They're going to have to be proactive. They're going to have to be innovative. And I think we're going to see the best of both of these rosters come out.
We certainly have from the past, and we certainly are from the future. But now's the present, and we want to see who lies a step ahead in the Penta Pro Series. In the grander scheme of things, both these teams, they return to how they started 2 hours ago. Dead even. It's gonna be respect shown across the server as VLT, they take cautious steps towards the B site, and Revenant, I think they just merely got a sniff. Hence, they fall back somewhat passive. Although with Josh not taking the aggressive peek from elbow towards hookah, Wimp was at a minor problem position. Wait, what? Josh actually died to the dog? Alright, that's surprising. Wimp finding 2 surprising as well. The trades, in a matter of seconds, and you might have missed it. One tap got close with his teammate. Not able to make that conversion work though. Puma chases him out of hookah, but still in position to take down Excali. MW1 in the 1 versus 1. And his team really needing this one. He's up against one tap god. Rotations. They essentially are playing yin and yang with each other. One tap god anticipating the peak. MW1 so low. Either side could win this out, and MW1 holds his nerves as that round merely fleeted away from VLT.
Yeah, and again, pistol so crucial in this map because we've seen how important momentum can be, but that's why you gotta remember what I was saying, that I think we're gonna have a lot of swings coming through. Revenant though with this pistol, absolutely crucial. And here, with the way this is likely to pan out, Velocity with this pistol, and with the way this is likely to pan out, it's all about those individual players being set up for success. MW1 with that clutch, I'm sure he's likely to feel that confidence. Hey, it's just the pistol. Let's not get carried away just yet, because anything can happen. Josh S takes a decent chunk though, and having spotted him out and with taking long control for free, Velocity, they set their sights once again on B.
Let's again.
2 bullets in the bag for Deathmaker on his aggressive stance, so he's gonna rely on Excali to make all the space for him. Blackhawk just plucked out at the back of sight. What's the plan? And they yet to give away any kind of weaponry whatsoever. And
Shorty.
Cali,
नको जाऊ.
he understands what kind of game is being
Eko
played
1
by
HP.
Revenant, so he chooses the play zone. Play on the back of MW1. A clinical blow
Dosta
that VLT
headhunter.
needed to
Chord.
deliver to the side of Revenant. Good job on them. They have utility
Next
well
level
set
मारते हुए
up.
तो
They
headhunter.
had real good coordination in the front lines, and more importantly, they'll have a real good chance to play a decent bonus, right? That's what I'm looking forward to.
Absolutely. And that bonus is going to be absolutely crucial, right? Because they're on the attack. On the attack more so than the defense. You want to be able to play that extra bonus because you can choose the fights you're going to take. You can dictate where your weapons are truly coming into light. And those engagements can be absolutely crucial. Now, Velocity with 4 Spectres, they're likely just going to look to pick up the pace. They've left Deathmaker towards long to maybe catch someone out with that Headhunter. He spots out the Fade though, and the Operative Strike coming out. You can see they're trying to catch out that player in the TP. One tap got made to pay, and suddenly Revenant, they've lost the crucial weapon. Velocity, they're going to continue on with this pace. Set their sights on this A side. It's all down to Josh's and Wim to hold it down. But they're quite separated. They can't play off of each other. Just individual fights, and it's one and done. But they make sure that instead Velocity is done.
The man advantage, and Wim needs to hold on for dear life for rotations. Excali straight up poppins him. 2 versus 2 with Excali's reposition. Hellfire could set up the flash for his aggression. No, Excali was looking at the flash, and he's not able to play in tandem with his teammate. It cost his teammate's life. At least Excali has full HP, but no utility except for the paint shells. Paint shells doesn't dictate the fight as much as he'd like, but he still ends up getting away with it. Excali, a thief amongst the night, as he's able to snatch around
ठीक है Excalibur.
right under Revenant's pillow.
Oh my lord, and this is what I meant. Excali, not just is he at home back at VLT, but he's very much so at home in this map, on that race, feeling his comfort. Shots Black Hawk
Excali by
down,
VLT
Black
में
Hawk with
अच्छा
a
खेला.
slight whiff, and Revenant with a slight mistake in that 1v2. You don't want to peek Excali 1v1. You've got to respect his ability to clutch it out. He give him an opportunity, they give him a chance, and more than happy to make it count. Excali with that huge round, because that's that bonus now working out. Joshesh will not get his hands on an operator. Revenant, they have to eco, and Excali is the one once again to start VLT off.
Spots out the aggression. Ooh, the dink. Almost could have been taken
Ulti
down there.
मारो Kalibhai.
Very exposed from on top of the box. But hey, man's feeling comfortable.
Ulti
Such
मारो Kalibhai.
immense clutch for his team. This early game for Revenant has truly fallen apart. Most likely will have to concede a round like this, so it already would be 4 on the board for VLT.
कसे बसले दोघं जण.
At least then they'll be having a slight
ओय रे
better
भाई
time
याचा हेड
with
हंटर
weaponry.
काय गॉड बे.
Hey, Joshesh with the headhunter, is so damn clean. I think that's the only one he's gonna find, bro.
नेक्स्ट लेवल हेड हंटर मारतो बे तो.
Okay, this is what I meant. Pendulum swings all the way through. Velocity with a 4-0 lead. Revenant, they've got to bounce back, and I wonder if this actually warrants a timeout. We've seen Malik
Take away
before
VLT.
not be shy of
Easy.
using it as and when it's necessary, even early. And it's exactly what comes out. For Revenant, I don't even think it's any big macro decisions that they need to make. They're not necessarily playing it wrong, but I will say in terms of the setups, they can change it out. What I haven't seen across this tournament is actually people using that breach towards B long. It's so easy to deny. You play him towards elbow, you set up a trap on hookah, and then with that breach chamber, you let them take long. As soon as they take long, that fault line completely covers out B long, and then that chamber can re-aggress and you can hold down the site. It also allows you to play Raise Fade Astra towards A, which is so much utility to contest with if they decide to force A side down.
Yeah, and last time Revenant did take a pause, VLT just fell flat. So it's very important now for VLT to have the ability to try and reapproach their attack.
Hey, we'll have to see how they're able to make it work.
ही क्या हो गया चाचा? हालाय नच के कर रहे चैट में. अरे ब्रो, ही क्या हो गया?
Well,
झालो.
all right. I think that just happened.
Yeah.
Well,
I think a bit of a technical issue, right? It's all right. It's all right. It gives everyone the time to just calm down to a certain extent, and hopefully we'll be back real soon. I'm not sure exactly what happened, but it will give Revenant players extra time to maybe just settle down, mellow out the 4-0 lead.
true. They have to
परत लाईट
mellow it
गेली?
out considering the
RNT?
kind of considering the kind of dominance that we did get to see from the get-go, that Excali clutch, the kind of heartbreak that it was at the pistol. Yeah, you'd kind of assume that Revenant will be able to mentally compose themselves, especially after what happened in map 1, right? If they're able to reset from what kind of disaster map 1 was, a slow start should just be a minor speed breaker in the grander scheme of this entire and big journey.
But at the same time, it might remind them of map 1. It might remind them of what happens when velocity gets momentum, and the ferocity with which velocity is able to just shut them down. Because honestly, it's a scary affair, man. For any team, like, to remember the way like these players are gonna go for the swings and try to peek you out. And at the end of the day, it's not just one player, right? Every different player popped out in different
MUMBAI ला
rounds.
लाईट
Now
जाता
on his
RNT.
race, he feels like he's truly
Gigabyte.
alive. He's happy. He's living his life. Was definitely.
अरे नीला भाई है ना रे मॅच चालू आहे ना VLT
Match
वर्सेस
found.
RNT त्याचा वॉच पार्टी ती मॅच बघत होतो मग ते एका टीमची लाईट गेली डायरेक्ट दोन टाइम दुसरी टाइम लाईट गेले त्याचे
Death match. Warm up.
तिलक दर्या हाय कुठे ओह अरे दिल का दरिया राइट इथे खाली
Get ready. I go fast.
Fight.
Ah, break's over.
अरे अरे यार चुकीच्या टाकी चुकीच्या टाइमवरच फोन होता मी माझ्या लागत का नाही?
Back up.
80?
Got one.
अरे रे चालू झाली का? झाली.
And just in case he was able to force the plant or maybe even force a kill, he would have had his orbital strike. So options were open there realistically for Deathmaker and MW1. Although the kind of utility that they ran into, for example, Helef into that astral well, the off angle held by Josh S was brilliant to deal with that. So Revenant slowly but surely get around. You need to start stringing them together. That's how you get momentum. You do it with numbers, well, you can find more progress.
I think Velocity, they're trying to sell a fake heavy presence towards this B site, or to help Hellfighter maybe find a pick. But instead, he spots Josh S out. He's gonna try to push that off back, but it doesn't happen. The orbital strike committed though, but Velocity, it's them who pay the price. Wimp and Ching with one each, and Hellfighter lost on the other side. Velocity now going to commit to B. It's all that board, but then Showstopper, it completely fades out, and now that fade with the Nightfall. Velocity, they get the sight. One tap God's rocket. It will not find any light. Ay ay ay.
Deathmaker still
Ay, ay,
fights.
ay.
Gosh. That stings, my friend. That stings.
Might
Revenant.
be too early.
शॉट बे.
I don't think so.
Might be GG.
Yeah, it might. The entire point being that Revenant really needed to try and maybe get a chink at Velocity Gaming's armor at least, and that would have at least meant that economic damage would have been applied. Nothing, nada. And for a second there, they looked to be in control as well. With that orbital strike not really hitting its mark or its timing or finding utility for that fact. You know, there were a lot of things going Revenant's way, and that's where Deathmaker shows up.
Velocity now. Happy to head back to their defaults. They're 1 point away from that showstopper. A couple away from the Seekers. With their eyes set on the A hit. 4-1 split as the Fate comes solo with her Prowlers. They're trying to make their way through, but Excali, he doesn't get taken out, and that's crucial. Josh though knows exactly where the plant is, and he's able to bounce it back. Takes out Excali, but MW1 with the fast trade. That's the effect of this Timmy, man. Do you see how quickly he came running?
Straight up choo-choo, man. Thomas the tank engine was not disappointed. Well, Wimp, surely he will not fail to impress us, would he? He had the element of surprise. He had timing. Now he should have support well on its way. And Wimp still able to hold the front lines and the spike. The Rolling Thunder used a little prematurely, as VLT are able to dodge it courtesy of their late rotation. But that astral wall is gonna make a hell of a difference for their ability to convert into this round. Ching is gonna play on the back of that flash. Okay, they've not opted to peek just yet. The stun set up brilliantly and the utility used diligently. Well played, Wimp. The triple and the B side is rock solid.
Josh S and Wimp coming up huge, because Josh S, if he doesn't take out Excali in that position,
Easy.
Velocity would be happy to play on the post plant. They had UOL control, they had Showers control, but denying that plant,
Stun झाला बे
This
आमत्रासू.
chaos started, allowing Wim to then hold this B side down. Revenant, they say, hey casters, hey Velocity, don't count their chickens too early because Revenant is still very much in this game. They're ready to play, and I will say, if after all this they pull out an 8-4, it would be absolutely humongous. This time on the aggressive play, the VS coming through, but they find both a double Blackhawk coming through for the trade as well, and Velocity, they're getting absolutely shut down.
Finally.
A brilliant change of pace.
And ingenuity as well. That's done on the Astral well, with the double satchel movement. Everything that they needed to find success. The utility dump for Hellfighter. As Josh sits in
Josh
wait.
भाई दे रे भाई.
Slow and steady are the progress that Revenant are going through, but hey, something is better than nothing, and right now they have a whole lot more than something. They have genius that they've cooked in the bag, and VLT,
7-3
it's on them to reply with genius as well.
Oh, but it's easier said than done, because again, I would be content with an 8-4 if I was Revenant, but the way they set up, look at Velocity's economy. It's not looking so great, so if Revenant get this particular round, it might just be a 7-5, and after a 6-0 start, that 7-5 absolutely humongous. Josh S is up though, it is pushed back, and both of these players completely split apart, meaning Ching, he's gonna have to make his stand, and he most certainly does. A 1-for-1 though, valuable for Velocity as they're able to translate that into area trade, but the nade, it completely splits them apart and ensures that they're not able to recover the spike. Now Velocity, as the attackers, they're gonna have to recalibrate and re-push together, but Tapmaker, he's taken out. It's all down to Hellfighter on his flank. He's got to make this count.
Matratsu needs to make this one wait. Oh, he gets the double! Showstopper out in hand! Dodged by Hellfighter, however. One tap god playing the off angle, decides to move into the angle to claim himself a glorious quad kill in a very, very crucial round here in the first half. Revenant showing that they're not gonna bow out without a fight. This is Velocity Gaming losing control. This first half was very much in their hand, but they've left the door open, and Revenant are quick to claim house. If they're able to claim this round, which everything indicates that they could, after the bat of a second half pistol victory, we might return to a dead even scoreline.
But look, Velocity, they still got the weapons. It's just MW1 relegated to a Bulldog. They've got the operative strike if they can get the plant down, but with Josh S on his signature tour de force, he's likely to become a menace, draining out so much utility. A boom bot, now the Trailblazer likely to come out, but he refuses to move from his freaking position. The guiding light as well, they just cannot flush this operator out.
It's all about getting that map control. It's
all
about forcing VLT towards that B site. With Ching and one tap god now lie in wait to set waste to their prey. They anticipate that the hit's gonna come at any moment due to the silence that now faces Josh S. And now the quick play, Excali making the dart to elbow. He deletes one tap. Excali exterminating towards elbow, but the play from Blackhawk is going to be all important because it allows Revenant to fight back. The utility though is set to brilliance. What? What? Josh S!
Nice.
Unbelievable! You talk about brilliance, man comes up with the PhD as he executes them as cold as a doctor would. Josh S, all he needs to do is play time, play off position, and Wimp finishes off the round. A heartbreaking defeat for VLT, and Revenant, they did not break a smile.
They know the job is not yet done, despite Excali's heroics. Beautiful movement, by the way, from Long. The way he set up his first satchel towards his right to get himself a towards elbow. All instinctively done, by the way. Like, it sounds very simple when I say it, but to do it in that chaotic moment, in the way the pressure is, it's very nicely done. But Josh S, man, again, He's been that shining light for Revenant, not just in this map, but throughout this entire series, and he's really stepped up to his mark. Wimp as well chiming in, 10-9-8, the IGL leading from the very front, and Revenant, despite that 6-0 down lead, they're able to pull it back, and it's certainly a pendulum. 7-5 now, and Revenant on this pistol, looking to pick up this round so they can equalize the scoreline. And they're pushing all the way through, but all this utility chunks them out.
They've at least got inside control, however. Plant not in any position to be denied. One tap god actually finds the opening on Amaterasu, who was caught slacking. Luckily, MW and Excali quick on the trade though, but Josh has yet again with the double. Unbelievable! One tap god straight up. Hadouken peaks Hellfighter. His whole own death maker all of a sudden. I don't think so. We've had a share of Hadouken. Okay, yeah, he attempted it. I mean, it's almost like, you know, Valorant already has emotes, right? That's what he's making it look like.
Tap god पण फॉर्म मध्ये आला
A crucial round there for Revenant.
Tap god will like
Yes,
wind
they're able to
down.
pick out the pistol. They will get the anti-eco now to equalize the scoreline, and the smiles, the laughs from Velocity, they've disappeared, instead replaced by furrowed brows. The scratching of the head as they are wondering what happened to their lead from 6-0 up. It's all fallen apart. Revenant now. This round not just crucial to equalize the lead, but also to build up towards that bonus. And they've given one of their best performing players, Josh S, that Vandal. The shorty gonna be flushed out with the nade, and Revenant making sure to be methodical. Will ply that trade towards the piece.
Aggressively. One tap god is literally in a ballerina. That's what B in B side stands for. Ballerina side. Wonder what his sensitivity is, man. Like literally 2 360s outside hookah.
Trying to jump their way in. Could have actually played for the exit frags and maybe sneak their way to elbow, but I guess they just want to get the round done. There's just a single weapon taken away from Revenant. They're on the road to a beautiful bonus in the next round now. 7-7 on board, and Revenant with a chance now not just to take the lead, but deny the operator for that maker and to delay any sort of momentum that Velocity might pull back. Revenant now very much back in control of this series, but they need the lead to really solidify it. This round crucial. Even if they can't win it, as long as they can take more than 3 weapons away, that will mean no operator coming anytime soon for that maker.
Cali, what a deny. One tap god has really been trying to run that fast lane Excali, but he's not gonna fall prey to his own genius. They've got side control, but little do they know Lamps is far from clear. Amaterasu still proving that he's a viable threat on even such low HP. Although finally the fights go the way of Revenant. It boils down to the 2 versus 2. Trying to force the TP play over here. Or at least they were. As now they regroup. Not for long though. It's all on a Black Hawk. 1 versus 2. Ooh, he's bit by the dog. That's time. They have the ability to play fast here VLT, and they play this one together.
I think he can just again rotate. He should have heard both of the TPs coming out. Can just choose to go back to A, but he has the time, so looking to play it slow. Maybe catch someone out. Will now elect to go through on the rotate, and the plant will help the money out. He's already got 3 weapons. Will be able to upgrade himself to a Vandal, and I love this plant because that plant, he could play from Heaven, he could play from Showers, or he could play from CP. So it makes the task that much more difficult for the retakers now. Velocity trying to pull it back with Black Hawk. He's actually in Showers now. He doesn't have any utility, doesn't have any stars. He just got to play it on that weapon and try to pull this off. Black Hawk set up for the clutch of a century. Here's him coming out from shot, and they're not gonna expect him. Sees them with the back. The small whiff. He needed his shots to be completely precise, so he's able to just get 1. And even the second look, Hellfighter on 5 HP. But Velocity, they managed to somehow scrape it out.
only he would have been a little more patient. But hey, you can say that about a lot of things in life. Doesn't necessarily make it right. Regardless, the lead now on the side of VLT. Last time they were given leads, they just run away with it. Radeon this time have the superior buy still.
I want to point out something very, very inconsequential. But Wim's KDA looks so clean, never mind. Back to consequential things as Josh S has shot that maker down, that Opper. Doesn't matter if he's on the defense or the attack. He's just happy to do it.
Finally, a day where Deathmaker feels like he's challenged on the operator, right? So far, throughout the Penta Pro series, it feels like nobody else had a reply to it. And here in the upper bracket finals, we're truly getting witness every player being put to the limit and being tested.
Crossfire set up towards a shot.
Wimp hears it.
Because they're heading towards it. Wimp hears MW1, but his game sense making sure he's expecting this Cubby presence.
Yes, he does.
So might still pan out. It was that double shot crossfire, but they're not
But the
able
double.
to shut them down. The double is not enough though, OG, because they get this side Revenant, and now in a 1v3, they will be able to secure a significant lead.
Hellfighter much more comfortable calling the save. That was such a well-read situation from Wimp. He knew exactly what was being set up when he heard MW1 playing so close towards those boxes. Normally you do not play close to those boxes unless you're trying to get information or bait. And, you know, either circumstance being taken into account, that corner is like 100% necessary to clean. When you know there's a close setup that could be in play. Lead quickly snatched back to an equalizer, and Revenant are gonna try and squeeze every inch out of velocity to force mistakes, and they're finding mistakes.
Talking about mistakes though. This map on the very edge. I thought a team might pull it out, and we had those swings in the first half, but in this second half, OG, the tension so damn thick. You cut it with a damn butter knife, and really it's down to these teams now to make sure they pull out every single round. It is the broken buy here for Velocity, but that shorty and you hold. It works out in time. The boom bot gets Excali, but Excali is able to get one. And Velocity will get another with Josh S to pull back the lead. Now the orbital strike available for Velocity to set up the retake, but so is the Rolling Thunder to deny the defuse. But that maker, he catches Blackhawk out, and now the defuse coming through. The Rolling Thunder not able to deny in time. The half still comes through, so it's all down to Josh S. He's coming through from the side, and the Astral Cosmic Divide will fade just in the nick of time.
Beautiful shot.
Through it, he moves and shots one time down. Josh is the star player, looking for more, finds another for MW1. He will be the executioner to take him out. The thrifty for Velocity, and this is what I meant. You need every single round in the bag. You said it yourself. A single mistake might change all that. And Velocity with a thrifty Revenant making that error, they give Velocity back the ball. Oh, this is so funny.
And it was very crucial as well, because Hellfire, I mean, Excali was going to be a dead man regardless. The fact that he's able to take one and go down, and it boiled down to the 1 versus 1, mind you. Puts a lot of weight on every individual on the server.
This time Revenant have the showstopper, and Ching only 1 point away from his Nightfall, trying to set up the long presence so he can pick one out per Velocity. They try to match fire with fire. They're setting up for the push here. I think waiting for the Prowler contact so they can make their way through, but instead their presence taken towards The hook-up push. Excali, he gets one with the showstopper, and Hellf able to find yet another velocity with the lead.
They push together. That's the comms there. If you push, I end up pushing right on your contact. And VLT, they end up coming out of that entire affair with that man advantage, sure. But they need to make sure they try and deny positioning and objective. Beautiful job by MW1. Knows that he has a perfect window of opportunity on the deny.
Shot, actually.
Josh has a rare miss that we have witnessed from this man on map 3 fight. But it comes in nonetheless. Revenant completely missing the mark.
G and VLT सारखा match का होता है.
As I was wondering, if Revenant were waiting towards B long, were they waiting for utility? Were they waiting for contact? It felt like they were almost hoping that VLT were the ones who initiate the fight, but little were they ready for the fight being initiated. In fact, VLT were more ready for that fact.
Kali bhai, hard carry.
And look now, the timeout coming out from Alex. Didn't work out in the first half, but maybe this is the moment. Excali, man. 25-14 to 2. He is popping the heck off. Velocity have truly got their race player back.
I know, right? He's been having a field day. And that's been the case ever since he was in the first half. I think he exited the first half with, I think, 20 frags. Something like that.
Yeah, close to it.
He has a lot more left to do in the defense duty.
Josh bhai
now it's going to be one tap god having
direct.
his showstopper in his beckoning call. So if Revenant get this to a feasible 3 versus 3 where they have guns, not a round where it could go the other way, and that's been the entire series so far.
Exactly right, and if you look at the timeline, you'll notice that the last few rounds of Velocity have won have all been diffuses, with the exception of our very last one. So Velocity happy to play proactively on one side just to retake another, and so far it's working out because they're able to inflict damage on the side that they are playing proactively. So Revenant in this timeout, surely the discussion has to be, look, these guys are again being proactive is the identity of Velocity. Either we get aggressive from the back and set up executes, or we once again go back to that bait playstyle. And it seems like it is the former, not the latter. They're trying to set up executes, but in a matter of seconds it all falls apart. The brothers in arms, Hellfighter and that maker, take one each out.
Bye, TK, live bye.
Such a funny
Yeah, चल दबा के मारो. पुकट थ्रो होता है पुकट थ्रो होता है पुकट. ठीक है भाई.
On the map and
1v1.
It's boiled down to a 1v1.
MW1 निकलेंगे भाई.
Controller OG and Blackhawk, he has access to the spike, but just 1 star left. Can play for the gravity well, but it's all down to MW1 with all his utility and his position. Can he do it? That's the question.
Yeah. Blackhawk really needs to find redemption.
Shot
the class that failed him, and MW1 finds confirmation that VLT will get on 11. Entire game has been a neck-to-neck affair.
Keyboard bab direct 90 degree मध्ये.
Map 1 was a landslide in VLT's favor. Map 2 was reckoning, fighting back against all odds and expectation, and coming out beyond anybody's imagination. But here over at map 3, it feels like decimation. It's been limb for limb, round for round, with VLT still in a realistic position to lose unless they make the right moves at the right places.
Pulling them in the
really interesting setup here from VLT. There has to be a read. Excali is just playing completely hidden on truck, and they're setting up for a 4 stack towards this A side. I think it's because of Ching's Nightfall that they're expecting the hit towards this A side, and you can see Amit Risu, he has his own Nightfall in his hand. He's waiting for the hit so that he can catch them out. And Revenant might just fall prey. They've taken showers.
Nice.
But MW1 looks to get aggressive. You wouldn't expect that from a controller. Still finds value.
Oh, they spot out Josh as well. Josh interested in taking the fight, and so is Deathmaker. It's all falling apart. Where it felt like victory lane was just a couple of steps away. VLT, they paved the path of roses filled with thorns, as it feels like almost a heartbreak in poetic fashion for Revenant.
Naga throw karo.
Map, match,
Nice.
series, and the ticket to the finale seems almost solid for VLT at this point. We know that the hearts and minds at Revenants are very strong, CA. But is it strong enough to overcome this temporary hurdle? As 4 rounds is nothing undoable for this squad.
They're definitely strong, but their economy isn't. Two
Bulldogs,
Bulldogs, a light shields, a Vandal with light shields as well. And Blackhawk relegated to a Spectre. Joshua has to rely purely on his Headhunter. Now he is very proficient. Bit of indecision there. Might just work out because he does back off, dodges out all the util, but he's not able to take the shot. Blinded out, they push him back, and still though Excalibur able to hold on because all of that util dumped just for Deathmaker. Revenant don't actually get the fight. And now the spike dropped away. Revenant relying on the Cosmic Divide to get themselves in, but Excalibur in a great position.
They regress together. Brilliant use of that wall against the use that it was intended for. Revenant thought they were gonna isolate fights with that wall. Nah, they essentially put themselves in a box. Quick fist bump to everybody involved.
Finals
what was undoubtedly an emotional effect for VLT as well. Because VLT did struggle in the first half to close it out and the kind of dominance that they'd kind of displayed it with. Deathmaker, a quick wave over to Revenant, who now have to move down to the lower bracket. And VLT get their tickets to the finale stage and get their fate entangled with the likes of Bleed and Boom.
What a beautiful best of 3 series we had there. Revenant gave it their all, Velocity giving it everything they got. They're the ones who come out on front. 2-1 for the victory, 13-8 on bind, and they're able to close out on their defense, just being extra
for the original account,
we talked about this. We needed that oomph, that extra factor from them, but it wasn't just the discipline, right? It was these really cool, ironic moments almost, like MW1 aggressing on Kingston, Excalibur popping off when you wouldn't expect him with a Spectre no less, and all of these moments, they chimed in together to stitch this fairy tale for Velocity to take out Revenant. Despite Revenant pushing back, and Revenant, I think one thing that they've proven is that they're definitely the top contenders for that second
RNT versus Honor.
Going on to our next final set, where we will find out who will face Revenant. Both of the teams they're gonna have to most definitely fear.
चला वो अलग घरी आता वो कुठे आहे का अजून तिथेच आहे जॉबवर
Match found.
स्ट्रीम बंद झाल्यावर पाठवू का आता पाठवते बंद झाल्यावर ना स्क्रीनशॉट तो
Warm up.
Penta.
144.
Oh, Bansky. Sova, aja.
ते काय करतो ते? तुझा प्लेअर होता तिथे.
Sova, aja.
Fight!
ई? बीच वाला मार रहे हैं.
Back off. Bad luck. Killed their sight.
चार जण.
Don't get up.
अरे भाई.
Lights up.
अरे रे. साउंड आलेला.
Reloading. Killed their cipher. Killed them.
Satish.
Killed their cipher. Anyone else? Idiot.
अरे मर जा भाई क्या भाई साला
You're done.
अच्छे से वार करता है
Go away.
Don't mess with me.
अच्छा नाम रखी
Lights out.
अरे
Back off.
अरे भाई
Healer's down.
Phoenix.
Match point.
You want a piece of this? Reloading, reloading.
अरे किधर से रे
जीत गए ओए जीत गए
Match found. Wolves, forget that.
हे भारी आहे. सेटचा कार्ड. चालू हो जा भाई.
Hey, the gang's all here. This is great. They don't stand a chance. Go, go, go! Gotta go! Go, go, go! I'm out of here. Short gun!
अरे
Enemy spotted A.
Careful now. Enemy spotted. You're out. Reloading. Decoy.
Planted.
Counter spike.
Planted spike.
Reload here. Enemy spotted.
Spike down.
Cutting through.
Spike down A.
Fake teleport.
Last player standing.